I spent 100 million to buy the amulet, but it ended up costing my own brother his life. Chen Yunyan stared at me with gritted teeth, her eyes full of resentment. I smiled coldly, shook the jade pendant in my hand, and whispered, "Is it fate? Is it a debt? Or retribution? Chen Yunyan, haven't you seen it clearly yet?" "William, how could you do this to me?" Oscar roared angrily, trying to snatch his amulet back. However, I just smiled contemptuously and threw the jade pendant to Chen Yunyan. "Take it. This is your life, and also his death." Just as Oscar rushed towards me like crazy, I kicked him over and turned to look at the camera. Dear audience, the show has just begun. Hi everyone, thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. If you like this story, please share and let me know in the comment section. I will update the next part. Chapter 127, a talisman for 100 million. Chen Yunyan was so angry that she gnashed her teeth, her eyes full of disgust towards me. But in the end, she didn't dare to really get angry. She really needs something to protect herself now. Otherwise, she would never be so humble to me. "William, I misunderstood you just now. I'm going to apologize to you, okay? I just care about you." Hearing her hypocritical tone, I couldn't help but sneer. "Chen Yunyan, don't try to be so rude. I won't sell you my amulet." I changed the subject and glanced at her coldly. "If you have time to act with me, why not ask your brother? His jade pendant is a good thing." Upon hearing this, Chen Yunyan turned her head to look at Oscar with a suspicious look, while the latter pretended to be innocent. "Third sister, I told you a long time ago that Master Wu didn't give me any magical tools to protect myself." Oscar's voice was full of grievance. Chen Yunyan hesitated for a moment, but finally chose to believe Oscar and turned to me with an awkward smile. "Brother William, don't be angry. Brother Oscar really didn't have one. Give the third sister a talisman. We are real siblings." Looking at Chen Yunyan's expectant look, I felt funny in my heart. This woman is really good at acting. "Chen Yunyan, do you really want it?" I asked her lazily, deliberately dragging out the ending tone. She nodded excitedly. Yes, third sister really needs it, please." I raised the corners of my lips and smiled meaningfully. "Okay, one amulet, 100 million, cash transaction." 100 million? William, are you crazy? Her expression twisted instantly, and she felt as uncomfortable as if she had swallowed a fly. I spread out my hands and said calmly, as if I were talking about the weather, "If you can't afford it, don't bother me, okay?" Hearing this, Chen Yunyun's face turned pale, but she was helpless and couldn't even utter a harsh word. At this time, Oscar stood up and pretended to be righteous. "William, third sister is so good to you. How can you treat her like this?" He added, "How about this? I'll give you all my pocket money, and you'll sell me an amulet." I stared at his hypocritical face and sneered in my heart. "Since you want to act, I will play along with you to the end." "Okay." I suddenly reached out, broke the rope around his neck, and directly snatched the jade pendant. "William, what are you doing?" Oscar was so scared that his face turned pale and his voice became a little sharper. I casually swung the jade pendant and said, "Since you care about third sister, why not give her this protective magic weapon? Isn't that a good idea? This is mine. How can you just give it away?" Oscar was so angry that he jumped over and tried to snatch the jade pendant back. Unfortunately, his mediocre kung fu was no match for me, and I grabbed his neck in a few seconds. I looked at his flushed face and said lightly, "Why? You are not willing to do even such a small thing for third sister." After that, I threw the jade pendant to Chen Yunyan. "Wear it. It's for saving your life. Don't say I didn't warn you." Chen Yunyan looked down at the jade pendant with a complicated look, and she seemed to begin to doubt Oscar's words. She hesitated for a while, but finally put the jade pendant on and even tied a few knots on it. Obviously, she was determined to keep it. "Brother Oscar, I'll lend you this jade pendant for a while. I'll definitely return it to you after we get out." Oscar was strangled to the point of being unable to breathe. His eyes were filled with anxiety, and he couldn't even speak. When I let go of his hand, he coughed violently, his face turned red, and he glared at me with resentment. "William, I'm going to kill you," he roared and rushed towards me with his fists raised. But I kicked him easily at the knee, and he fell to his knees on the ground, looking very miserable. "Want to kill me? Practice for a few more years in your next life." I looked down at him with a sneer, too lazy to watch his joke anymore. Chapter 128. William is not an ordinary person. Pa! Pa! I quickly raised my hand and slapped Oscar twice, and the crisp sound exploded in the air. Compared with fists, this way of humiliating people is more direct. Oscar covered his face, gasped in pain, A faint taste of blood rose in his mouth, and his expression was mixed with anger and fear. I sneered at him. Oscar, who gave you the confidence? Do you think you can still touch that piece of shit of mine? Or do you still think that I am the same William from the past, a soft persimmon that dares not fight back? My eyes were cold and contemptuous. In my eyes, he was no different from an ant, just struggling in vain. William, you've gone too far. How could you hit Oscar's brother? Chun Yunyan rushed over and stood in front of Oscar to protect him. I snorted coldly. Chun Yunyan, your Chun family is really a double-standard family. Your brother shouted that he wanted to kill me, so I can't fight back. Also, I just got you a life-saving gadget, and you turned your back on me so quickly? You're really throwing meat at a dog, and there's no way back. Too lazy to pay any more attention to the brother and sister. I turned and walked upstairs, mocking them as I walked. How boring. What a waste of my time. William, wait for me. Wan Mingshu hurriedly caught up, his eyes full of excitement, and he was obviously impressed by the scene just now. He followed me and trotted, saying, William, the way you beat him just now was so cool. Have you ever practiced martial arts? No, I just thought about it casually. I said in a light tone. Looking at his excited expression, I couldn't help but want to laugh. You can figure it out to this extent just by thinking casually? William, you are amazing. From today on, you are my big brother, my idol. Just then, Wan Idong knocked on the door and walked in with a few people. She was holding the amulet I gave her in her hand. William, thank you. This amulet saved my life. There was a hint of gratitude and fear in her tone. I waved my hands and said lightly, it's not that exaggerated. The little devil was just trying to scare you. He didn't intend to do anything to you. Scare? Playing with a ghost? This is too outrageous. Wan Idong couldn't help but take a breath, and her face became a little paler than before. I smiled and shook my head. Don't be afraid. That guy just wants to have some fun. As long as you don't provoke it, nothing will happen. Then can we still go out? Deng Anji asked cautiously, his face full of nervousness and uneasiness. Yes, don't worry. This place has been open as a BB for so long. If something really happened, it would have happened long ago. I comforted them and gave them reassurance. In fact, if it weren't for that idiot Wu Wei who brought out the little ghost, this matter wouldn't have been so troublesome, but I'm too lazy to explain it any further. Well, William, do you have any more amulets? Deng Anji asked tentatively, with a hint of hope in his eyes. I want to buy 2. I glanced at him and said calmly, Teacher Deng, you don't need to buy this. He was stunned for a moment. A hint of disappointment flashed in his eyes, but he quickly nodded. Yes, the things are yours. I can't force you. I curled my lips and said, Teacher Deng, the jade pendant on your neck must be a family heirloom, right? It has been blessed by a senior monk and is strong enough to protect you. Really? He touched the jade pendant in surprise. His eyes lit up instantly. This is a relic my mother left me. Don't worry. The jade pendant will keep you safe. Although your brother doesn't have a talisman, he will definitely be fine with you. After that, I looked at Du Yen again. Teacher Du, the same goes for you. Don't worry too much. Everything will pass. Du Yen lowered his head and clenched the amulet in his hand. He didn't tell me anything about it, but just nodded to me respectfully. Thank you, Master Jiang. There was deep respect in her voice, and she obviously saw that I was different. Chapter 129 Master. William said you are a fool. Wu Wei, who was lying on the ground, finally moved. He groaned softly, as if he had used up all his strength to make a sound. Oscar was the first to notice it and rushed over, but when he was about to reach out to help him up, he hesitated and stopped. Master, are you awake? Oscar asked tentatively, but his movements were frozen in place, as if he was worried. Wu Wei frowned. The pain all over his body made it difficult for him to even sit up. Seeing Oscar standing there made him even more furious. Are you made of wood? Help me! Wu Wei's voice was particularly hoarse because of the pain, but his tone was still firm. Oscar hesitated and took a step back, reluctantly explaining. Master, it's not that I don't want to help you. William doesn't allow us to touch you. William? Wu Wei frowned even more tightly, with a hint of doubt in his eyes. Why didn't he let you help me? Oscar immediately seized the opportunity and said with a wronged look on his face. Master, look at my face. He was the one who hit me. It was so cruel. And Brother Xiaoyang's hand was also broken by him. William is simply a lawless thug, he said, his tone becoming more excited. Then, he lowered his voice and added in a secretive tone. He also snatched the protective magic weapon you gave me and used it to please Chun Yunyun. After hearing this, Wu Wei's face became even gloomier. He stared at Oscar for a long time, but did not respond immediately. Wu Wei knew in his heart that what Oscar said might not be entirely true. He had long seen through the man's stupidity and selfishness. But at this moment, he and Oscar were in the same boat, and William was their common enemy. so there was no need for him to expose him. Go to my room and bring the cloth bag on the bed. Wu Wei finally spoke, his tone revealing fatigue and impatience. Oscar nodded quickly as if he had been pardoned. He quickly took the cloth bag back and placed it next to Wu Wei. Wu Wei took out a white porcelain bottle from his bag, poured out a few pills, and swallowed them. The pain on his face finally eased a little. He propped himself up and sat up, took out his cell phone to call for help, but found that there was no signal at all, and his brows frowned even more tightly. How is William now? Wu Wei put away his phone, turned to ask Oscar, with a hint of inquiry in his eyes. He's fine. He's gone back to his room to rest. Oscar's tone was mixed with fear. Unscathed? Wu Wei's tone was filled with disbelief. He obviously didn't think William could escape unscathed from the four little devils. Thinking of what the four little ghosts said to him, someone beat them, Wu Wei had a terrible guess in his mind. Could it be William? Wu Wei murmured in a low voice, a hint of doubt flashed in his eyes, but he immediately denied the idea. Impossible! He is just a young boy. How could he subdue such a resentful ghost? Wu Wei quickly made up his mind. He must have a powerful magic weapon. I must get it, he said coldly. Go, call William down for me. His tone was unquestionable and a little anxious. Oscar's face changed slightly. He hesitated and said, Master, he hates me the most. If I go to call him, he will definitely not come down. Wu Wei glared at him fiercely, his anger almost uncontrollable, and then turned to Chen Yunyun. Go, call him down. Chen Yunyun was stunned. She never thought that Wu Wei would dare to order her in such an attitude. Is this guy crazy? Chen Yunyun cursed in her heart, but she couldn't hide the dissatisfaction on her face, and her expression was cold. Seeing her dithering, Wu Wei said in a tougher tone, Don't waste time. No one can leave alive if William is not called. When Chen Yunyun heard this, her expression changed slightly. She gritted her teeth, went upstairs, and walked towards William's room. When she opened the door, she found Wan Yidong sleeping soundly on the bed, and everyone else also looked relaxed and not nervous at all. She felt a strong sense of indignation in her heart. The amulet was given to an outsider, but not given to my own sister. Damn it, William, the master has woken up and asked you to go see him. Chen Yunyun spoke while suppressing her anger, but her tone was full of impatience. Let him come to see me himself. I didn't even raise my head, and my tone was so cold as if I was talking about something unimportant. After hearing this, Chen Yunyun sneered, turned around and walked to the corridor and shouted downstairs. Master, William said you are a fool, and you are not worthy for him to see you. Her voice was deliberately raised, and almost every word was pronounced clearly and was full of sarcasm. Chapter 130, let you know what reverence is. Chen Yunyun's words completely ignited Wu Wei's anger. He felt the pain that had been suppressed in his body surge up again, almost unbearable. Wu Wei gritted his teeth, took out a few more pills, and swallowed them, finally breathing a sigh of relief. He took a deep breath and forced himself to stand up. William didn't want to come see him. Then he would go find William himself. Wu Wei endured the discomfort and went up to the second floor with difficulty under the support of Oscar. As soon as he entered the room and saw William lying leisurely on the bed, Wu Wei's anger instantly reached its peak. Why? Why was he tortured half to death by four little devils, but this kid was unscathed? It was you who did this, wasn't it? Wu Wei asked angrily, staring at William as if he wanted to burn through him. When everyone heard Wu Wei's words, they were all stunned and looked at William in confusion, as if waiting for an answer. I lazily stood up and sneered. My doing? You mean those little devils beat you up so badly that you couldn't get up? Wu Wei's face turned ugly in an instant. He didn't expect that I actually knew that those little ghosts were summoned by him. Don't talk nonsense. When did I ever summon a little ghost? Wu Wei tried to deny it, but his voice was a little weak. Did I set up the Yin gathering formation in that house? I sneered, my eyes piercing his guilty heart like a knife. Wu Wei was shocked. He didn't expect that I even knew about the Juyin formation. He was a little at a loss for a moment. Impossible. He is just a little kid. Formation is the most difficult to learn in Xianmen. How could he know so much? His mind quickly turned, and he pointed the finger at the person behind me. It must be his backer who told him. Thinking of this, Wu Wei calmed down instead. He felt that this was an opportunity to force out the master behind me. William, I'm here to protect you. How could I summon a ghost? Wu Wei suppressed his emotions and tried to save face. I laughed disdainfully, stood up from the bed, and looked at him unceremoniously. Protect? Ha! You really know how to flatter yourself. Wu Wei's eyes suddenly turned cold, and he said in a deep voice, Today I will let you know what it means to respect your elders. After that, he pushed Oscar away, quickly formed seals with his hands, muttered something, and a blue light burst out from his fingertips. The talisman cut through the air and came straight towards me. He was secretly delighted. This puppet talisman, as long as it hits the target, I will completely obey him. The atmosphere around us suddenly became tense, and there was madness in Oscar's eyes. He was looking forward to seeing me being completely suppressed. Chun Yunyun also crossed her arms and watched all this indifferently. She hoped that Wu Wei would give me a severe lesson and make me lose face. However, the next second, something happened that stunned everyone. I waved my hand casually, and the talisman disappeared in an instant. Wu Wei's face turned pale in an instant, and he murmured in horror, "This is impossible. This is my signature skill. Does he really understand metaphysics?" Alarm bells rang in Wu Wei's mind. He felt a little scared and realized that he might have hit a wall. I looked at him trembling, sneered, and kicked him in the abdomen mercilessly. Bang! Wu Wei flew out of the room, fell heavily on the corridor, and spat out a mouthful of black blood with a ghostly smell. "That's all?" I sneered. "You still want to play with me? You don't know your own limitations." Wu Wei felt as if his internal organs were about to be shattered. He moved backwards in horror until his retreat was blocked by a railing. What do you want to do?" His voice trembled, and his eyes were full of despair. I stepped on his chest and said in a voice as cold as ice, "Who set up the gathering formation? Who summoned those little ghosts?" Wu Wei's face flushed red, and he panted and whispered, I did it. Why did you summon them?" I continued to ask, pressing hard with my feet until he broke out in a cold sweat. "I just want to cause you some trouble. I don't want to hurt you." Wu Wei's voice was weak and full of guilt. Hearing this, I sneered. "You're pretending well. Did you teach Oscar all that lousy feng shui knowledge?" Wu Wei's eyes flickered, but he didn't dare to answer. It was obvious that he was touched in a sore spot. I pressed harder with my foot, and he screamed in pain. Suddenly, I sensed a strange magnetic field fluctuation and noticed that his fingers hidden under his clothes were secretly making hand gestures. "Oh, still want to play tricks?" I sneered in my heart. Sure enough, thick black air began to emerge from the door of the room at the end of the second floor. Wu Wei saw this, as if he had grabbed the last straw, and shouted loudly, "Ghosts appear, show your true form immediately." Chapter 131, The Evil Ghost Appears. Ghosts appear, show your true form quickly. After Wu Wei's last syllable fell, the air around them suddenly stagnated, and a cold breath quickly spread. The black air at the door at the end of the corridor became thicker and thicker, as if it was being pulled by some force and was gathering into shape. The house, which was originally brightly lit, suddenly flickered. After a moment, there was a pop, and it fell into complete darkness. Ha ha ha! Wu Wei's wild laughter rang out in the darkness. "William, I want to see how long you can hold on this time." He raised his hand and smeared the blood on his palm on his trouser leg, as if completing some kind of ritual. I looked at him coldly and sneered. "Wu Wei, do you think there is only one little ghost in this house?" Wu Wei's laughter stopped abruptly, and his expression suddenly froze. What do you mean by that?" I was too lazy to explain, so I grabbed Wu Wei by the collar and dragged him to the end of the room, shrouded in black air. "Want to know? Go in and take a look yourself." After saying that, I casually threw Wu Wei into the thick black fog. Mom, it's him. It was this bad Taoist priest who caused Lele to be beaten." A childish voice sounded in the black fog. "Mom, he lied to Lele and hit Lele's butt. Lele doesn't want him. Kill him." The voice was childish but sinister. Wu Wei was shrouded in black fog, and everything in front of him was dark. He could only hear the complaints of these little ghosts, and cold sweat broke out on his body. Before he could open his mouth to explain, the figure of a woman in a red dress gradually emerged from the depths of the black fog. The red skirt was as red as blood. The hem of the skirt swayed gently. Her long hair fell like a black waterfall, and a cold breath instantly filled the entire space. The female ghost had a cold face, a pair of bottomless, empty black pupils, and a faint green light that made people shudder. Her gaze turned and fell directly on Wu Wei, her tone as cold as a knife. "Damn Taoist priest. How dare you hurt my son?" "I didn't." Wu Wei just opened his mouth when she grabbed his neck, and her sharp nails pierced into his flesh. The ghost energy flowed into Wu Wei's body from her fingertips, and severe pain instantly swept through his body. He twitched in pain and screamed. "Great, Mom. Kill him." Lele clapped and cheered. His childish voice made people feel even more creepy. "No!" Wu Wei struggled and shouted. "I summoned you. We signed a contract, and you have to listen to me." "Ha ha!" The female ghost laughed shrilly. "Help you kill people? What does it matter if I kill you first?" Wu Wei's face turned pale when he heard this, and his heart felt as if it had fallen into an ice cellar. He finally realized that he had no way of controlling these evil spirits. At the same time, as the female ghost appeared, the black air gradually dissipated, and everyone in the house could see her appearance clearly. William, is this a ghost? Wan Mingshu hid behind me, his voice trembling, pointing in the direction of the female ghost. I turned to look at him and couldn't help laughing. Are you scared? Go to bed and cover yourself with the quilt, so the ghost can't catch you. No, it's safer for you to follow William. Wan Mingshu swallowed and grabbed my clothes tightly. Everyone else also crowded behind me. Even Chen Yunyun was no exception, and the arrogant look she had just had disappeared without a trace. William, are you just going to watch the master get killed? Oscar poked his head out and shouted at me tentatively. I raised my eyebrows and said coldly, didn't you just watch helplessly? Don't forget, he is yours, not mine. Oscar was choked and speechless. After a moment, he gritted his teeth and said, the show is live. You watch someone die without helping. Aren't you afraid of being scolded? Live broadcast. I laughed out loud. Since you care so much about live broadcast, then you can go and save him. As I said that, I suddenly grabbed his shoulders and pushed him towards the female ghost, while smearing Wu Wei's blood on his body. Aren't you kind-hearted? Go ahead. I'm afraid of ghosts, so I'll leave the rescue mission to you. After saying that, I turned and left. William, you're going too far. This is clearly going to kill Oscar's brother. Chun Yunyun screamed from behind. I was too lazy to pay attention to her, and went downstairs directly. Seeing this, others hurried to follow me. It was obvious that no one wanted to stay and watch the fun. Oscar was thrown into the black fog. He instantly attracted the attention of the female ghost. The female ghost slowly turned her head and revealed a weird smile. Ah! Oscar screamed, ran downstairs desperately, and grabbed Chen Yunyun's jade pendant in panic. Sister, save me! Oscar's voice trembled, his face full of fear, and the female ghost behind him had already floated over. Chapter 132. Oscar snatches the jade pendant. The following is the optimized content with feedback line by line, each line controlled between 60 to 90 words, maintaining the commentary style. The plot is compact and smooth, the originality is increased to more than 30%, and it conforms to the style characteristics of Shuangwen. Ah! Chen Yunyun was caught by Oscar. She screamed in fear and tried to break free, but Oscar, his hand tightly grasped the rope of the jade pendant around her neck. Oscar, are you crazy? She shouted angrily. The rope around her neck made it difficult for her to breathe, and she frowned in pain. This is mine! Give it back to me! Oscar gritted his teeth, his face fierce, and completely ignored her shouting. I'm your third sister, Chun Yunyun roared, but Oscar's cold eyes chilled her heart, and she just kept pulling the jade pendant desperately. Just when Chen Yunyun was about to be strangled to death, the jade pendant was finally pulled off by Oscar, and a look of ecstasy appeared on his face. Ha! The protective magic weapon is mine! Oscar held up the jade pendant, turned around, and shouted viciously at the female ghost. Don't come over! The female ghost stared at him coldly, and her eyes fell on Chen Yunyun, who was still covering her neck and coughing, and her expression became complicated. Is he your boyfriend? The ghost girl's voice sounded faintly, frightening Chen Yunyun so much that her body trembled, and she quickly waved her hands to deny it. No, he is my brother. Chen Yunyun's voice trembled, her heart full of fear, afraid of angering the female ghost in front of her. Brother? The ghost girl's face suddenly cracked open, revealing rotten flesh. She sneered, anger burning in her eyes. You bastard! You don't even care about your sister's life. What if it was your girlfriend? Would you be so heartless too? Oscar stepped back in fear and blurted out in panic. She is not my biological sister. We are not related by blood. Chen Yunyun was stunned. She looked at him in disbelief. Is this the brother she has loved since childhood? You bastard! You heartless and ungrateful thing deserves to die. The female ghost screamed, her long hair moving without wind, and she attacked Oscar. Oscar raised the jade pendant and shouted, Don't come over here! This is a protective magic weapon that can kill you. However, the female ghost snorted coldly, and her long hair suddenly wrapped around his wrist. She pulled hard, and the jade pendant fell to the ground. Oscar screamed in pain and quickly let go, but the female ghost pointed her sharp nails at his neck without hesitation. Ah! Oscar was terrified and subconsciously pushed Chun Yunyun beside him over, trying to block the attack of the female ghost. You're crazy! Chun Yunyun screamed. As soon as she saw the ghost girl's face clearly, she was so scared that she fainted and collapsed to the ground. The female ghost paused for a moment, but did not hurt her. Instead, her nails pierced into Oscar's shoulder, and the ghost energy instantly invaded his body. Oscar let out a heart-wrenching scream and then fainted, But the female ghost had no intention of letting him go. She floated in the air above Oscar and raised her hand again, aiming her nails at his neck. Tian Xiu, stop. A low and intimidating voice suddenly sounded. The female ghost paused and turned to look in the direction of the voice. How, do you know my name? Tian Xiu's face was full of astonishment. Her body trembled slightly, and her resentment seemed to dissipate a little. I slowly approached and said calmly, yes, Wu Wei summoned you to kill me, but you can't touch me. Arrogant. Tian Xiu sneered, and suddenly stretched out her hand towards me. Her long hair pounced towards me like a poisonous snake, but I easily blocked it. The anger on her face was gradually replaced by doubt. Are you a Xianshi? No, you don't have the aura of a Xianshi. Are you the subordinate of that unfaithful man? Tian Xiu's voice became sharp, and her face began to rot again, with deep cracks appearing. No. I shook my head calmly and raised my hand to cast out golden talismans. One talisman after another flew towards her and landed around her. The sky and earth are dark yellow, yin and yang, the 5 elements. The universe is determined. Use the talisman as a lock, use the spell as a chain, bind the evil spirits, and suppress the fierceness. As the spell was completed, the talisman turned into golden chains, trapping Tian Xiu tightly. She struggled angrily, but to no avail. Mom! Lele burst into tears upon seeing this. The resentment in his body burst out, and he instantly split into 4 little ghosts, all rushing towards me. I raised my hand and threw out a confinement talisman, and Lele was immediately fixed in place. He could only wave his arms and legs, but could not get closer. The room was filled with golden light. The people hiding in the corner were stunned and could not believe the scene before them. Is this real? Or am I dreaming? Someone murmured in a low voice, his eyes full of shock and disbelief. I walked up to Tian Xiu and said calmly, he won't let me kill you and your son, so don't hurt anyone else. Tian Xiu was stunned. She stared at me with a complicated expression, her lips trembling. She was obviously a little shaken, but still unwilling to give in. Chapter 133, Old House Stories. I'm not the helper Su Liangkai found. I said coldly, don't try to fool me. If you were not sent by that unfaithful man, how could you know my name and guess who the unfaithful man I am talking about is? Tian Xiu's voice stabbed like a sharp blade, making people feel irritated. She interrupted me angrily, without waiting for me to explain. I frowned and said coldly, Tian Xiu, I pity your misfortune and don't want you and your child to die. But if you continue to be so presumptuous, I will show you the true methods of the Heavenly Master. Tian Xiu was silent for a moment. Although she had been trapped in the house for 20 years, many mysterious masters had broken in. However, she was full of resentment, and those so-called exorcists were frightened and fled in panic when they saw her. However, this time, she felt something truly different. I easily suppressed her with my casual moves, and she felt a little scared. Okay, change your face back, I said calmly, but my eyes didn't want to linger on her corrupt face for too long. Tian Xiu lowered her head and said nothing, but she eventually put away her anger. Her face gradually returned to normal, and her rotten muscles became smooth again. Very good, I nodded. Now I give you 2 choices. First, your soul will be scattered. Second, let go of your obsession, and I will send you and your son to reincarnation. When Tian Xiu heard this, fear appeared in her eyes, but it quickly disappeared, replaced by a bitter smile. Master, don't worry, Lele and I can't leave this house. I smiled and said, I can take you out. Tian Xiu raised her head, hope in her eyes. Really? Master, can you really help us get out of here? Of course, but before that, you have to tell me the truth. How did you get the life on your hand? Her expression froze for a moment, and she slowly spoke after a moment. Master, I was trying to help a little girl. Help her? Why does she need you to sacrifice your child's life to help her? Tian Xiu took a deep breath, her voice full of reluctance. That girl is so pitiful. Her man cheated on her. The man had been married for a long time, but his wife couldn't have children, so he tricked her into giving birth to a child for them. But you killed the child, so you will be punished. You will be judged when you go down. Tian Xiu looked at Lele, who was sleeping peacefully under the spell, and finally nodded slightly. Master, will I be separated from Lele after I go down? I was silent for a moment and didn't answer. I had no right to change this matter. When Tian Xiu saw my expression, her eyes were instantly filled with despair. Tears of blood slid down her eyes, and her lips trembled slightly. As long as Lele can be reincarnated, I am willing to accept any punishment. But Master, I have a request. What's up? Let me see Su Liangkai again. Her eyes burned with crazy hatred. What do you want to do? Kill him? She didn't answer, but her eyes gave me the answer. I shook my head. Tian Shiyu, if you kill him, the consequences will not be as simple as just going to trial. I'm not afraid. Her tone was filled with hatred. As long as that unfaithful man goes to hell, I don't mind if my soul is torn apart. I watched the cracks on her face become more and more obvious, and sighed in my heart. Her obsession is too deep. If I don't satisfy her, I'm afraid she won't even have a chance to be reborn. At this time, Wan Yidong and a few others came forward bravely and asked me softly, William, who is that Su Liangkai? I didn't answer, but Tian Shiyu sneered. Su Liangkai, the most cruel beast in the world, but also my former man and Leilei's father. Afterwards, she shed tears of blood as she slowly recounted the long-forgotten past. 20 years ago, 19-year-old Tian Shiyu fell deeply in love with Su Liangkai, who was 10 years older than her. She followed him back to the countryside with great longing, thinking she had found her own happiness. However, her happiness completely collapsed on the day her child was born. On the 15th day of the 7th month, Su Liangkai brought back a Taoist priest, saying that he would dispel the yin energy for the child. Tian Shiyu was completely unprepared and regarded this as her husband's love for the child. However, she did not expect that on this day, both her life and the child's life were ruthlessly destroyed. Tian Shiyu continued with tears in her eyes. Master, I want to make that unfaithful man pay the price with my own hands, even if it means sacrificing everything I have left. Chapter 130, For I'll Take You Out and End Your Obsession. This was the first time Su Liangkai got angry with me. At that moment, I was stunned. Tears welled up unconsciously, but he did not comfort me anymore. He just hurried away to find the so-called master. That night, my stomach finally started to move, so I hurriedly asked him to find a village midwife. However, he flatly refused and planned to deliver my baby himself. A man with no experience actually wanted to deliver a baby? His behavior made me completely panic, but there was nothing I could do to stop him. Su Liangcai's clumsiness and indifference turned the delivery into a nightmare. He ignored my pleas, insisted on waiting for the right time, and finally cut open my abdomen with a knife. The pain made me faint several times. The last time I woke up, I was lying in a pool of blood. The ground was bright red. I wanted to hug my child, but found that he was not around. In my weakness, I heard whispers outside the door. Su Liangkai and the master were discussing something anxiously, and they also mentioned the time when the yin energy is at its strongest. I crawled to the door with all my strength, and I saw a scene that I will never forget. My child was placed in a small coffin, and Su Liangkai was nailing the coffin shut with a nail in his hand. The child's cry gradually faded, and my heart was completely broken. When the sound disappeared, my body no longer felt any pain, only an endless chill. When the last ray of light disappeared from my eyes, I finally understood the truth. The moment my soul left my body, the huge resentment turned me into a ghost. I rushed to Su Liangkai angrily, grabbed his neck, and asked him why he did that. But he sneered, and the master behind me took the opportunity to stab me with a sword, and I completely lost consciousness. When I woke up again, I found myself trapped in a small room at the end of the 2nd floor, unable to move. 7 soul-suppressing nails were nailed to my body, and talismans were pasted all around the room, completely sealing my soul. During the years when I couldn't leave, I called out Lilith's name every day, until one day, his soul finally responded to me. At that time, I realized that Su Liangkai had been lying to me from the beginning. He was not the lover I thought he was, but a demon who would do anything for the benefit of his family. He used my fate and the negative energy of my child to reverse the feng shui of his family, and even made me and my child the sacrifices for his success. The pain of cesarean section and the hatred of killing my son. Master, do you think I can let go of this hatred? Tian Shiyu's eyes were burning with hatred, and her voice pierced everyone's heart like a knife. Please let me out. I want to make him experience the pain I've endured with my own hands. Even if it means my soul is torn to pieces, I won't hesitate. Her screams plunged the entire house into a dead silence, and even the air seemed to freeze. Her friends around her, even those men who always spoke tough, had tears in their eyes. William, please help her. She is really pitiful. Wan Mingxiu spoke, and everyone nodded and looked at me with hope. I sighed and raised my hand to untie Tian Shiyu's shackles. She was free, but she immediately knelt down in front of me. Get up, I said calmly. In fact, after hearing her story, I'd already made up my mind. As a heavenly master, how could I stand idly by in the face of such evil magic? Tian Shiyu was so excited that she kowtowed repeatedly after hearing my promise. I turned and went upstairs, took out the black umbrella from the suitcase, and prepared to collect her and Leilei's souls into it. Just as I was about to act, she suddenly stopped, turned to my friends, and bowed deeply. I'm sorry, Lele scared you. This is all my fault. Everyone waved their hands to comfort them, expressing their understanding and sympathy. Tian Shiyu took back the ghostly aura from them, picked up Lele, and quietly walked into the black umbrella. The moment the umbrella was closed, the room suddenly became brighter. The sun shone down, and the night haze completely dissipated. Chen Yunyun, her brother and sister, and Wu Wei on the ground also woke up. After confirming each other's presence, the three of them were glad that they were still alive. However, Chen Yunyun raised her hand and slapped Oscar hard. Chapter 135. Oscar, Chen Yunyun and her brother break up. Oscar was beaten so hard that he looked at Chen Yunyun blankly. Third sister, what's wrong with you? Don't call me third sister. Chen Yunyun's eyes were burning with anger, and she gritted her teeth and said, from now on, I don't have a brother like you. At this moment, the brother-sister relationship of more than 10 years seemed to vanish into thin air. A chilly atmosphere filled the air. I raised my eyebrows, watching this sudden breakup between brother and sister. I felt a little surprised, but more of a cold bystander. Sure enough, one more person has recognized Oscar's true face. I'm curious if the list will continue to grow. Just when the atmosphere in the house was extremely depressing, a hurried shout suddenly came from outside. Oscar, Tong Tong, are you in there? Open the door quickly. The sounds were continuous, even mixed with some anxious knocks on the door. Deng Anji suddenly remembered something and ran over to open the door. As soon as the door opened, the program staff and the guest families rushed in. It was obvious that the live broadcast accident last night had become a big deal. I stood aside and watched these people run towards their loved ones, and I, of course, was alone. Dora hugged Oscar and burst into tears. The scene felt ironic to me, so I simply turned around and went upstairs, not wanting to watch it anymore. Oscar, what's wrong with you? Suddenly, Dora screamed, attracting everyone's attention. I turned around and saw Oscar trembling all over. His face was pale, and his lips were purple. It was obvious that something was wrong. Look at him, Dora shouted anxiously. He's shaking all the time. Honey, come and have a look. David touched Oscar's forehead and his expression changed instantly. Why is it so cold? What happened last night? He suddenly turned to Chen Yunyun and asked. Chen Yunyun hesitated for a moment and whispered, maybe he was injured by a ghost. Nonsense. David denied it outright. He didn't believe in ghosts or gods at all. However, Dora pointed the finger directly at me. Is it William? Did he bully Oscar again? Go call him out. When she said this, Wan Yidong and the others were stunned. I sneered and didn't bother to pay attention to her brainless words. At this time, Wu Wei came over, his face pale, but he still maintained his dignity. Let me see, Wu Wei said lightly. Dora asked unhappily. Who are you? Wu Wei didn't even look at her, and Director Su quickly explained. This is a master invited by the program team. Please let him take a look. Wu Wei walked up to Oscar and lifted his shoulders. In the eyes of ordinary people, there was nothing there, but in his eyes, he could clearly see 4 deep holes with black gas coming out. Ghostly energy has invaded my body, Wu Wei murmured, his brows furrowed. It was obvious that the matter was not simple. Where is the jade pendant I gave you? Wu Wei asked. It fell, Oscar replied weakly. Director Su picked up the jade pendant from the ground and handed it to Wu Wei. Wu Wei stuffed the jade pendant back into Oscar's hand. Hold it well. The moment he got the jade pendant, Oscar felt a warm current flowing into his body, and the pain was slightly relieved. Wu Wei took out a small porcelain bottle and wanted to give it all to Oscar, but thinking of his usual selfish behavior, he only poured 2 pills and handed them to David. Give him something to eat. What is this? Are there any side effects? What kind of doctor are you? Dora asked sharply. Wu Wei snorted coldly. If you don't trust it, don't eat it. Don't waste my time. After that, he turned and left. Dad, please let the master come back soon. I'm in so much pain. Oscar grabbed David and begged, his eyes full of despair. If your son dies, it's all your fault. David pointed at Dora and cursed, his face full of anger but helpless. I leaned against the stairs, watching all this with a cold eye, without any ripples in my heart. Perhaps this was the fate that their family deserved. Oscar suddenly turned his eyes to me. He seemed to have thought of something and struggled to whisper to Dora. Mom, go ask William for help. He has a way to save me. Go ask him now. Chapter 136. Chen Yunyun is completely heartbroken. Since childhood, Oscar has always been Dora's treasure. She would cry if he had just a scratch on his hand, let alone his current state of weakness and cold sweat. Okay, don't be afraid, son. Mom will go find William right away. She held back her tears and looked around, but didn't see me. Her eyes then turned to Chen Yunyun. Why are you still standing there? Can't you see your brother is in so much pain? Go and get William, she roared, her voice full of blame and anxiety. Chun Yunyun was stunned by the roar. She bit her lip and her eyes gradually turned red. From the time Dora came in until now, she had never cared about her once. Chun Yunyun felt a pang of pain in her heart, thinking about all the efforts and sacrifices she had made since she was a child. But in the end, in this family, she was just a neglected shadow. What do you want to do? Do you want to watch your brother die? Seeing that Chun Yunyun did not respond, Dora raised her voice in frustration. Yes, I just want to see him die. Chun Yunyun finally broke down and cried. Didn't he want me to die before? Why should I save him? She kept crying and said hysterically. Why did William save him? Why should he? Don't dream. William doesn't even care about me, his sister. So how can he care about him? These words stunned everyone present. Dora's face turned pale. She had never expected Chun Yunyun to explode in public and curse Oscar. You unfilial daughter. She lost her mind in anger and slapped Chun Yunyun. The crisp sound of the slap echoed in the hall. Chun Yunyun covered her face, her eyes full of disbelief. Mom, you hit me? Yes, I will beat you. You actually disobeyed me in public, said I was unworthy of being a mother, and cursed your brother to death. Dora gritted her teeth, her face full of anger. This slap and those biased words completely chilled Chun Yunyun's heart. She stood up, wiped the tears from her face, and sneered. Mom, you are not our mother at all. You are just Oscar's good mother. Her voice was not loud, but it was like a heavy hammer, hitting Dora and David's hearts. I used to think that you were ignorant because the eldest sister and the seventh sister distanced themselves from you, but now I understand. There is no place for us in this family. Dora was so angry that she couldn't speak and could only stare at Chun Yunyun. At this time, David just walked in and saw this scene. He immediately frowned and asked, What's going on? Your daughter is unfilial. Dora pointed at Chun Yunyun. She just cursed Oscar to death. She also said that I am not worthy of being a mother. David was stunned. His eyes fell on Chun Yunyun's red and swollen face, and he immediately understood something. He suppressed his anger and coaxed softly. Yunyun, your mother is just too nervous. Don't take it to heart. Dad, Chun Yunyun said coldly. If only one person can stay in this family, would you choose Oscar or me? David's face froze instantly. He didn't expect the question would hit him so hard that he was speechless. At this time, Oscar said weakly, Third sister, don't be like this anymore. Mom and Dad are already sad enough? I'm leaving. As he spoke, he staggered to his feet and pretended to leave. Son, don't go. Dora rushed forward to support him, and David also hurried forward to help, completely leaving Chun Yunyun aside. Chun Yunyun looked at their busy backs with a bitter smile on her lips. She had already got the answer. Her biological parents chose the adopted son and gave up on her. From now on, I no longer belong to this family. She whispered, turned, and went up the stairs without looking back. Chapter 137. Chun Yunyun's image completely collapsed. As soon as I got to the second floor, I saw Chun Yunyun standing by the railing, her eyes full of anger. I had no intention of paying attention to her, but she spoke with a tone full of resentment. William, stop gloating over other people's misfortunes. If it weren't for you, none of this would have turned out like this. I raised my eyebrows and couldn't help but sneer. You Chun family are really the same as always. When something goes wrong, you always blame others first and never reflect on yourself. Chun Yunyun, does it hurt? I said in a flat tone, but with a hint of sarcasm. She was stunned for a moment, then reached out to touch her slapped cheek, obviously misunderstanding what I meant. I continued, You are their biological daughter, but they treated you like this for an adopted son who has no blood relationship with you. How does it feel? Shut up. Chun Yunyun's face flushed red as she yelled. What qualifications do you have to say that to me? I walked closer and looked her in the eyes. What about Oscar? He lied to you that he didn't have any protective magic weapon, and when you were in danger, he took your amulet away and pushed you towards the evil spirit. What were you thinking at that time? Her face suddenly changed, but she was powerless to refute and could only mutter in a low voice. You stopped talking nonsense. I sneered and said sharply, Do you finally feel that you were blind to protect this kind of person as a brother? Do you regret it? Shut up. Chun Yunyun seemed to have been poked in a sore spot, and she slapped me. I grabbed her wrist and said coldly, Chun Yunyun, are you really stupid or just pretending to be stupid? You dare to attack me now? Do you really think I will let you bully me like before? I shook her hand off. She staggered, glared at me, but was speechless for a moment. After a moment, she suddenly sneered. William, do you think I will change my mind about you after seeing Oscar's true face? Don't dream. Her voice was sharp, and every word was piercing. You just want to prove that you are better than Oscar, and want us to regret not pampering you, right? Unfortunately, you will never be worthy of it. I couldn't help but laugh. Chun Yunyun, What's in your head? Do you think I care about what your Chin family thinks? I don't need you anymore. Really? She sneered, her eyes a little flustered. Aren't you participating in the variety show just so we can take you back to the Chin family? You are hopelessly stupid. I shook my head and turned to leave. But soon, you won't even be qualified to work in the entertainment industry. What do you mean? She was anxious, with a hint of fear in her eyes. Don't worry, you'll find out soon, I said calmly, but my tone was so cold that she shuddered. I pointed at the cameras in the room and said, "Did you know that these cameras are always broadcasting live? The audience can see your ugly behavior clearly." I picked up the suitcase, stopped when I passed her, and whispered, "Enjoy my gift to you, Chin Yun. This is just the beginning." At the same time, the internet was in an uproar because the live broadcast had been resumed, and the hot searches almost dominated the charts. Topics such as Jinghao, Chen Yin Da Di Jinghao, Jinghao Zimei Lia Jinghao, Jinghao Oscar Su Yang Lao Zi Jinghao directly dominated the charts. But what really ignited public opinion was a video that was subsequently circulated by marketing accounts. The content of the video stunned netizens, and Chen Yunyun's image as a rich lady collapsed instantly. In the first half of the video, she accused me of selling fake amulets, then snatched Oscar's magic weapon, and even forced me to ask the master for help. These scenes completely tore her hypocritical mask to pieces. The insults on the internet poured in like a tide, and the image of the kind-hearted daughter of a wealthy family that Chen Yunyun had cultivated in the entertainment industry for many years was completely reduced to ashes at this moment. Chapter 138, the whole network feels sorry for William. As soon as William went downstairs, Chen Yunyun received a call. After hearing what the person on the other end of the phone said, her face suddenly changed and she immediately opened Weibo. After seeing the current direction of public opinion, her face turned completely dark. Fuck, who on earth am I following? Why is Chen Yunyun so disgusting? Damn, this is the first time in my life that I have seen a man as tea-like as Oscar. Is he the type of man that the male bastard is talking about? Is Chen Yunyun crazy? She plays all kinds of tricks on her biological brother and calls her adopted brother Oscar's brother all the time, which is disgusting. Oscar was pretending to talk about feng shui knowledge, and she looked at him with admiration. William sold a talisman to Wan Yitong privately, and she was bluffing, saying that he was cheating, and this was live broadcast. Is she afraid that she can't ruin William's reputation? I've been wanting to say this for a long time. Is it reasonable for a brother and sister to be so close to each other? Anyway, when my brother and I meet, we have to fight after we have exchanged 3 sentences. Anyway, we have been in a situation where we don't like each other for so many years. My sister and I are like this too. As long as we don't fight, we can be considered to be living in peace. Chen Yunyun and Oscar are just touching each other's heads. Are they really just siblings? Are they not doing something immoral? The above poster should not think so dirty. According to the nature of the entertainment industry, the siblings are probably just creating a persona to attract fans. They are crazy about doting on their brother and sister. Family members, from what I have seen throughout the show, I think the show is really haunted, and the haunted one is not a simple one. You can tell from how Master Wu looked when he first participated and how he looked later. Half his life was gone, but William's talisman was able to keep Wan Yitong unscathed. This shows that the talisman is really amazing. This kind of amulet that can save lives is something that is worth a fortune. $10,000 is really like giving it away for free. The person above is obviously someone who has some knowledge of Xianmen knowledge. I know a big guy who asked for a talisman from Wu Wei before for 5 million. Let me tell you another little-known fact. The strength of the Xianshi is directly proportional to the effectiveness of the talisman he draws. People in the Xianmen believe in cause and effect. Giving things to others means having cause and effect with them. So, I guess if William didn't want to be involved in cause and effect with others, he might have given the talisman away for free. Damn, this video really made my breast clog. How can there be such a mean person? She disliked William so much before and even tried to incite netizens to bully him. As soon as she heard that William's talisman worked, she started to say, "Brother William, I am your biological sister." Yes, that's right, Chen Yunyun, I'm talking about you. Fortunately, William is sober and doesn't recognize you as his sister. Chen Yunyun is such a jerk. William is so unlucky to have a biological sister like you. And the Chun family's parents, after they came, they didn't even look at William. They just hugged the fake young master and cried. William's eyes were broken at that time. I didn't know why before, but later I knew that William was their biological son. Then I knew why. Damn, novels don't dare to write such a weird plot. The real young master is treated as grass, and the fake young master is treated as treasure. Chen Yunyun had already lost count of how many times she had swiped her fingers, but no matter how she scrolled down, the screen was filled with insults against her and the Chen family. Occasionally, her die-hard fans would speak up for her, but they would soon be attacked by others. In the end, there was almost no one to defend her. All the big news about the Chen family were sorted out. Oscar usurped the throne. Dora slandered and defamed William in public. Chen Wanning called the police to arrest William, and Oscar framed William, causing him to be bullied in school for 2 years. Everything was turned out again. For a time, the entire internet was cursing the Chen family and feeling sorry for William. Chen Yunyan was so angry that her whole body was shaking. "William, you damned bastard." Thinking of what William said when he left, she instantly realized that this must be William's work. But who gave him the materials during the period when the live broadcast was interrupted? Thinking of this, she went downstairs with an angry face, but saw William being surrounded by Wan Yitong and her group, and she didn't know what they were talking about. Wu has come out. Dora didn't know whether she didn't see William or knew that William would not help out of kindness. So she stood in front of Wu Wei with tears in her eyes and begged him to save Oscar. Chen Yunyan couldn't help but wonder, if she was the one injured today, would Dora still be so anxious and put aside her dignity to beg for help? Probably not. Thinking of this, she felt a pain in her heart, but she quickly suppressed the emotion. Her precarious career did not allow her to think about such things. Chen Yunyan glanced at the camera and saw that the red light on it had gone out, so she quickly walked up to Director Su. "Director Su, is the live broadcast turned off?" Director Su had just hung up the phone call from the artist team and said anxiously, "I have asked someone to turn it off. I'm really sorry, Yunyan. The situation was urgent just now, and the program team was thinking about the safety of the guests and didn't pay attention to this matter." Chen Yunyan interrupted them coldly. "Have you seen the new video that came out online?" Director Su was stunned. "Video? What video?" As he spoke, Director Su opened his phone, glanced at his Weibo, and his expression changed drastically. "How? How could this happen? How did this video get out? I wanted to ask you about this. William posted the video, and you saw it. This incident has had a huge impact on my image, but the fact that he was able to get these materials must mean that there was something wrong with your production team. I will definitely investigate this matter." David, without waiting for Director Su to say anything else, briefly told David about the current situation on the internet. David was shocked. Did William really do this? Chen Yunyan nodded, her eyes full of hatred. "There will be no one else except him. He said that he would make it impossible for me to continue in the entertainment industry, and he would also send all of our Chen family members to hell." David's face darkened. He gritted his teeth and cursed in a low voice. This rebellious son. How did our Chen family let him down? Although Chen Yunyan was still full of dissatisfaction with David and Dora, the current situation was serious and she had to let it go. In any case, she is a member of the Chen family. When one prospers, all prosper. When one suffers, all suffer. "Dad, the most urgent thing now is to find a way to restore our family's reputation." Chapter 139, Brother William. "Why are you doing this?" David looked at William with a sad face, thinking about how to save the Chun family's reputation. "Dad, third sister, let me do it." Oscar's weak voice suddenly rang out. The two of them looked at him in surprise almost at the same time. Oscar smiled bitterly. "In the final analysis, my brother only hates me for stealing your love, so he hates our family so much. Now that I have been injured like this by the evil spirit, I probably won't live long. Why don't I do something for our family, which can be regarded as repaying your kindness in raising me for so many years?" "Oscar," David's voice was dry. "Don't talk nonsense. What evil spirit? What not long to live? Dad has called an ambulance. The doctor will be here soon." After what happened before, Chen Yunyan no longer had any trust in Oscar. After hearing what he said, she looked at him suspiciously. Oscar looked at her aggrievedly. "Third sister, I know you hate me now, but please, since I'm about to die, give me a chance to explain." Chen Yunyan looked at Oscar without saying anything. Oscar continued. "Third sister, I actually don't know why I did such a cruel thing to you at that time. It was really not me. If I had any sense, I would not hurt you like this. I know you won't believe me no matter what I say now, but I still want to tell you my true thoughts. In this life, I'm really happy to be your brother." At this point, Oscar seemed to be unable to hold on and shook violently. David quickly reached out to support him, and Chen Yunyan also subconsciously reached out her hand. But in the end, she withdrew her hand and did not help Oscar. At first, she was really moved by what Oscar said, but soon she thought again. Although Oscar explained in his words that his actions after meeting the evil spirit were affected by an unknown force, causing him to become another person and not knowing what he was doing. But Oscar disappointed her in more ways than just this. He clearly had a protective device, but he had been lying to her from the very beginning. This matter cannot be explained simply by saying that I don't know what I am doing. But what is more important right now is her acting career. If Oscar can help her get through this crisis, she doesn't mind enduring it for a while longer. Oscar is the most suitable person to do this now. After all, Oscar looks like a dying man now, a real weakling. The public often sympathizes with the weak. Oscar looked at Chen Yunyun as she took her hand back, a hint of anger flashing in his eyes. As expected, feelings without blood ties are so fragile that a little thing can wear them all out. But he didn't care too much, as he was mainly speaking to David and his wife. Given Chen Yunyun's current attitude towards him, she will tell them everything sooner or later. He had to give them an explanation before that. This way, he won't be kicked out. Dad, third sister, I'm going to go over and ask my brother to let our family go. As he spoke, he looked at Chen Yunyun. Third sister, do you have anything to tell me? Chen Yunyun thought for a moment, then leaned close to Oscar, seer, and said something. Okay, I understand. Oscar nodded, but he sneered in his heart. This Chen Yunyun is truly a member of the Chen family, just as selfish, cruel, and ruthless. Oscar reminded the two again, asking them to keep an eye on Dora to prevent her from acting impulsively. Brother William. Oscar walked up to William with unsteady steps. William was saying goodbye to Wan Yidong and her brother. He raised his eyebrows when he saw him coming. Oscar's eyes were red, and he said angrily, Why did you do this? How have your parents and sisters wronged you? Why do you have to destroy the Chun family? Oscar's voice was neither loud nor soft, but enough for everyone in the room to hear what he was saying. The surroundings suddenly fell silent, and everyone looked over. William still didn't say anything, but out of the corner of his eye he saw a few people holding up their phones and filming not far away. Among these people, two are Director Su's confidants. One is Chun Yunyun's staff member. He immediately understood that the Chen family might have seen the online public opinion and were looking for an opportunity to clear their name. Oscar, with a half smile, then asked, Wan Mingxiu, did you bring your cell phone? I've brought it. Wan Mingxiu quickly took out his cell phone. Let's start a live broadcast. Oscar heard this and looked at the smile on William's face that seemed to see through everything and felt a little flustered. But now that things have come to this, he has no other choice but to go ahead with the plan. Even if he couldn't turn the tide, he had to at least make sure he wasn't kicked out of the Chen family. Brother, Oscar deliberately called him the way he hated the most, trying to anger him and disrupt his composure. Why did you post this audio online to smear third sister's reputation? How did third sister let you down? Don't you know that third sister brought you to the show specifically to ease the relationship between you and your family, so that you can go home and reunite our family? Oscar looked at William with a sad face. Because he was worried that William would find out, he deliberately did not reveal the authenticity of the audio. William saw that Oscar was obviously waiting for his reaction and said sarcastically, Then what? Oscar, whatever drama you want to play, just play it all at once. Chapter 140, the Chun family joins forces to counterattack. Oscar's face froze, and he cursed William in his heart for being such a jerk and not playing by the rules. I'm afraid the previous plan can no longer go on. He was silent for a moment, and a new plan came into his mind. He made up his mind and made a decision. Brother, I know you hate being adopted by mom and dad and having your position replaced. But do you know how sad mom was when you got lost? She cried every day and her body broke down. But do you know? From childhood to adulthood, Mom and Dad have always told me that my existence is just a substitute for you. They adopted me only because they asked a master to tell them that raising me can help them find you. After you came home, your parents and sisters were so happy. They waited for you for so many years, but after you came back, no matter what they did, you were not satisfied. I know that you just mind my existence. You think that an orphan like me is not worthy of living the life of a rich young master. But this is not my choice, right? In order for you to forgive my family, I repeatedly proposed to leave home, to get everything back on track, and to make you feel better. But you were unwilling to let me go. You tortured me and bullied me every day at home, and provoked the relationship between me and my sisters. But brother, what did I do wrong? I was just a 2 or 3-year-old child back then. When I was taken back to the Chen family, I didn't know anything. In the past few years, I've been patient in order to repay my parents for raising me. I thought that if you vented your anger, our family would be harmonious. But you should never, ever hit your mother. Mom loves you so much. Why did you curse her and make her face full of pustules? Brother, what do you want to be satisfied? At this point, Oscar was already in tears. He looked at William, his eyes full of grievance and despair. After a moment, he bent his knees and knelt down in front of everyone's astonished gaze. Brother, I beg you, please let Mom and Dad go, and let my sisters go, okay? I know you are very powerful and can even control ghosts. Now that my body is in this state, you know best that I don't have much time left to live. You can let go of your hatred for me and let this all pass. Okay. Would you please go home with your parents? I have taken your things for the first half of my life, and I have already given them back with my life. You are not only the legitimate young master of the Chen family, but also the only young master. Isn't this enough? After saying that, Oscar's body swayed and fell down. But he did not faint and continued to look at William. Brother, can you let mom and dad go? They are the ones who love you the most in this world. Oscar! When David and his wife saw Oscar fainted, they ran over and supported him. Dora had already learned from David about the current situation on the internet and what Oscar was willing to do for the Chin family. The more resentment she felt towards William, the more she felt sorry for Oscar. Dora thought of what David had told her and looked at William with tears in her eyes. William, I'm sorry for you. It's all my fault. I shouldn't have taken you out and caused you to be abducted by human traffickers. I shouldn't have thought that you would inherit the family business in the future, so I was strict with you. If you want to blame someone, blame me and let others go, okay? Cool. Mom knows that you want to take revenge on us, so you degenerate and commit yourself to a man. Mom knows that this is not what you want. You are still young and don't know what to do and what not to do. Come home and mom will do whatever you want. Mom will no longer strictly require you to have the ability and morality that an heir should have. Okay. When these words were spoken, everyone was shocked. Originally, Oscar's words contained a lot of information. It points out that William is not on good terms with the Chun family because William blamed the Chun family for his disappearance and even took his anger out on himself, who was adopted by them, in an attempt to sow discord between him and his sisters. And the most important thing is that everyone now knows that William understands metaphysics. Not only did he drive the evil spirit to kill Oscar, but the most infuriating thing was that he actually used such terrible power on his biological mother, which was somewhat outrageous. William before are now somewhat shaken. And then, Dora's heartfelt cry made them completely change their sides. Because she was abducted, she hated her biological parents to the core, used metaphysical means to harm her biological mother, and even allowed herself to be kept by a man in order to take revenge on her biological parents' family. That's a bit too much. People always sympathize with the weak. Oscar was now lying on the ground with a pale face, and Dora's face was covered with tears. As for William, he just stood there and looked down upon them. It is hard for most people watching the live broadcast on site and online not to sympathize with the Chin family. What shocked and interested the audience even more was the fact that a woman was kept by a man. This immediately ignited their enthusiasm. William is going too far, isn't he? He actually used such vicious means on his own biological mother. That's right, his family had 7 daughters before they had a son. You can imagine how much his family doted on him. No one wanted to see him being abducted by human traffickers. The Chin family finally found him and trained him as an heir, but he still holds a grudge against them. What an ungrateful person. It's so disgusting. She's so young, but she's actually being kept by a man just to get revenge on her biological parents. Bah, I felt sorry for him before. When the Chin family heard these discussions, they felt a little proud. It seems their plan was successful. Now at least people are not scolding them one-sidedly anymore. Very good, now it's time to finish. Dora looked at William with a sad face. William, Mommy doesn't expect you to forgive Mommy right away. Mommy just hopes that you can give us, your family members who love you deeply, a chance to make amends to you. Can you come home with Mommy? As long as you are willing. Mommy is willing to kneel down and apologize to you. As she said that, Dora stood up, walked to William, closed her eyes, and 2 lines of tears rolled down. Then she opened her eyes and actually knelt down towards William. William's expression suddenly changed. Chapter 141, Have you had enough of acting? William never thought that Dora, with her proud and domineering personality, would actually kneel down to him. Seeing Dora bending her knees, his pupils trembled, and he quickly stepped forward and grabbed her arm. He is not soft-hearted, but no matter how unwilling he was to admit it, Dora was his biological mother after all. When she knelt down, no matter what the truth was, in the eyes of the world, William would only be the man who forced his biological mother to kneel down to him. Dora's behavior is truly despicable. But William doesn't care about fame, which is an external thing. The real reason why he would stop her was that as a member of the Xianmen, if his biological mother knelt down to him, he would incur punishment from heaven. When Dora saw William coming over so anxiously to stop her, she knew that this trick was effective. She was happy in her heart, but her face still showed a look of great grief. William, you don't have to stop me. It's all my fault. As long as you are willing to go home with me, I can do anything. William's face had completely darkened at this moment. Dora, have you had enough of the drama? Dora was stunned when she heard this. Then she reacted quickly. William, you still won't forgive your mother? Just then, the sound of an ambulance was heard outside the door. William sneered. Well, since you still want to act, don't blame me for not showing you mercy. Dora was shocked. William, what are you going to do now? William didn't say anything else. For some reason, Dora felt uneasy under William's cold eyes and subconsciously turned her head to look at David. William also looked over and said loudly, "Chairman Chen Yunyan, you two, one is the chairman of a listed group, and the other is a popular female star in the entertainment industry. Are you hiding behind and watching your wife and mother confuse right and wrong in order to save your precarious reputation?" When the two heard this, their faces turned dark. Fortunately, at this time, several medical staff hurried in. "Where is the patient?" William smiled faintly and raised his hand to signal, "Here." When the Chen family members heard this, their hearts skipped a beat. This kid is so enthusiastic. What does he want to do? William finally let Dora go. "Your good adopted son is so sick. Why don't you let him see a doctor first?" There was a trace of struggle in Dora's eyes. Looking at Oscar's pale face, she was really worried. At this time, medical staff were already walking over here, carrying a stretcher. The doctor looked around and saw Oscar's face was so ugly, so he hurried forward and asked, "Young man, what's wrong with you?" When Oscar fell down before, he had already pretended to be about to faint, and now he is still very strong with his eyes open. "Doctor, I feel pain all over my body and I'm cold." William smiled faintly. "Doctor, you have to take a good look at him. He said he won't live long. It would be a pity if he died at such a young age." After hearing this, the doctor couldn't help but frown. "What's going on with this young man? Why are you talking so harshly for no reason? Isn't this cursing the patient?" But he didn't say much, just turned around and checked Oscar. Originally, seeing Oscar in such a bad condition, he thought the patient's condition was very serious. But unexpectedly, after a series of examinations, the patient's indicators were completely normal. He couldn't help but ask again, "Young man, what kind of pain do you have? Is there any medical history or symptoms before?" Without waiting for Oscar to answer, William stood aside and asked with a half smile, "Doctor, is his condition serious? Is it really like he said, that he won't live long?" The doctor understood now. So the reason why the boy cursed the patient before was because he thought the patient was faking illness? Thinking of this, the doctor's face looked a little ugly. Oscar again. "Young man, can you still speak now? What's wrong with you?" Oscar looked at the mocking smile on William's face. What was there that he didn't understand? This bastard must know that ordinary medical methods cannot detect the harm caused by ghosts to humans. The doctor will inevitably think that he is lying if he cannot find out the severity of his injury. Then the credibility of what he said before would be greatly reduced. Thinking of this, he could only bite the bullet and ask, "Doctor, can't you find out what symptoms I have?" The doctor didn't expect Oscar to ask him this. Generally speaking, if someone was pretending to be sick, he would deliberately say some messed up symptoms. But now, this young man could actually point out directly that he couldn't see any symptoms. Plus, this kid's current condition is indeed a bit bad, and it doesn't seem like he's pretending at all. For a moment, he was also a little confused, but he still nodded. "Indeed, all indicators of your body are normal." Oscar smiled bitterly. "Uncle, you may not believe me. I was hit by a ghost before." The doctor was startled when he heard this. He turned his head and looked around. Even the camera saw it. His face instantly turned dark. "Are you guys filming some kind of prank show? This is ridiculous. You're wasting medical resources." When Director Sue heard this, he quickly stepped forward to explain. "Doctor, this child really didn't lie. Although we were indeed filming a program before, we really encountered a ghost last night. A young nurse who came with the doctor had been watching the show last night, and even ate some melon before coming. She had some understanding of the situation here, and walked up to the doctor and said something in his ear." The doctor was stunned for a moment, and his expression relaxed a little. "In that case, you should go to the hospital for a comprehensive checkup." "Doctor, is his life in danger now?" William asked again, looking determined to get a clear answer. After thinking for a moment, the doctor said cautiously, "From a medical point of view, all his indicators are normal. Generally speaking, it will not affect his life's safety." Before Oscar could say anything, he heard William say, "Oscar, did you hear that? You won't die. Don't worry." Oscar hated it to death in his heart, but he could only pretend to be extremely sad on his face. "Brother, you know exactly what my current condition is, and you also know that conventional medical methods can't help me. So why do you have to use such words to provoke me?" The doctor didn't want to see them arguing with each other, so he asked impatiently, "So do you want to go to the hospital for a checkup?" Oscar was silent for a moment, then shook his head. "Doctor, forget it. I'm in this condition now. Even if I go to the hospital, it will be a waste of medical resources." When the doctor heard this, he didn't force the patient. He paid the ambulance fee and left. Oscar finally breathed a sigh of relief. But since William wanted to prove that he was faking illness, he had to nip his plan in the bud. He turned his head and looked at Bowie, who was not far away, and said with difficulty, Master, my brother seems to have misunderstood that I was pretending to be sick to gain sympathy. Can you help me prove that I was really injured by a ghost? Chapter 142. Oscar loses his magical weapon. Although Wu Wei has many dissatisfactions with Oscar now, after all, they are still in the same group. So he walked to Oscar, looked at William, and said, "William, you know that Oscar is like this because of the ghost energy invading his body. Why do you want to confuse right and wrong and accuse him of pretending to be sick? Do you think everyone is blind and can't see that he can't even stand up?" William chuckled. "Wu Wei, I didn't say he was pretending to be sick. I just confirmed whether Oscar's life was in danger. So you turned black into white? Well, then tell me, as a master of the mystic, is Oscar in danger of death now that he is invaded by ghost energy?" Wu Wei also saw what William was thinking at this time. He just wanted to overturn all his accusations by proving that Oscar was pretending to be weak. After all, if one of the 100 things you say is fictitious, the remaining 99 will be doubted. But what if other masters watch this show? If an ordinary person is invaded by ghost energy, if it is an ordinary ghost, he will naturally not lose his life. But the red-clothed female ghost was so powerful last night that even he couldn't resist her and suffered a great loss. Isn't it normal for such an evil ghost's aura to kill a person? Who can tell what medicine he gave Oscar? As for that magic weapon, as long as the person who made it doesn't say anything, who can really tell how powerful it is? William's move was really arrogant. He actually thought that everything was under his control. Thinking of this, he said with relief, "Last night, the red-clothed evil spirit, even I was injured by the evil spirit, so that my body is so weak now, not to mention Oscar is an ordinary teenager. I gave him a magic weapon, but it can only temporarily suppress the evil spirit in his body and prevent it from running wild. As for whether it will hurt his life, who can guarantee it?" William really didn't expect that even though he had made his words so clearly, Wu Wei, the idiot, still dared to lie with his eyes open. "But it's fine this way. Even if we have to clean up, let's do it all at once. Anyway, inaction is not a good thing." He sneered and was about to speak when a voice suddenly came from the door. "Wu Wei, are you questioning the things of this Tao?" As soon as the words fell, everyone looked towards the door. A few people who recognized the person suddenly widened their eyes. "Master Qingfu. It's Master Qingfu. Oh my god. Why is he here? What was Master Qingfu talking about just now? His things? So the magic weapon that Master Wu Wei gave to Oscar was Master Qingfu's thing? In China, if we talk about the entertainment industry, Wu Wei is the highest-ranking master of mysticism. In both the political and business circles, Qingfu is the highest-ranking master of mysticism. People in both the political and business circles simply look down upon inaction. So in front of Qingfu, Wu Wei is not even worthy of carrying his shoes. Wu Wei was also surprised to see Qingfu. Master Qingfu, why are you here?" Qingfu snorted coldly, walked up to William, glanced at him, then quickly retracted his gaze and turned to look at Wu Wei with a cold expression. "Wu Wei, I just heard you say that even though the young man on the ground has my protective magic weapon, he is still in danger of death due to the ghost energy invading his body. Is that right?" Wu Wei was filled with panic when he heard this. "Master, what do you mean by you? If you despise my magic weapon so much, then come back." "Master, no. If Oscar doesn't have your magic weapon now, the situation will be... What will happen? You will die even if you have my magic weapon. So why are you still holding it? Return it quickly. Don't let me say it for the 3rd time." Wu Wei didn't know why Qingfu suddenly came today and was so disrespectful to him and wanted to take back his things so forcefully. He was very angry. But if he doesn't return it, today's matter will probably be even more difficult to resolve. Although he was unwilling in his heart, he had no choice but to walk to Oscar and whispered, "Where's the stuff?" Oscar's pupils trembled and his heart was filled with fear. "Are you going to take the magic weapon away now? Wouldn't the pain that had made him feel so miserable before be tormenting him again?" "Master, Wu Wei's face darkened. "Oscar, give it to me." "But master, without this jade..." Dora now realized that her beloved son was in great need of the magical weapon they were talking about. Thanks to the lesson she learned from offending Wu Wei before, she hurried forward and said to Qingfu respectfully, "Master, I am Oscar's mother. My child is in great pain now. Fortunately, I have your magic weapon to suppress it. Master, please be kind and don't take back the magic weapon for the time being. Can you return it to the master when the child is better? Or you can name a price, and we can buy your magic weapon." Although David did not believe in these ghost stories, he knew how high Qingfu's status was in their circle. After all, with his status, he normally can't even get Qingfu's contact information. Now that he had encountered such a situation and it involved Oscar, he had to stand up. "Master Qingfu, I am David, the father of my child. Master, please be merciful. My child is in unbearable pain and needs your magic weapon. Please be kind and sell it to us. Don't worry, you can set any price. David had a good idea. If he could really buy this magic weapon, and when Oscar no longer needed it, he could give it away as a gift, which would be a great favor. After all, he had heard that many people were willing to give up half of their wealth in order to ask Wu Wei for help. Qing Fu has been living in William's house these days, and he has heard everything about the Qin family. He knew how much William hated this family. Ever since he knew that Candy was accepted as a half-apprentice by William because she made Doris so angry that she had a stroke, he has been longing for a chance to perform in front of William, preferably to get William to accept him as a formal apprentice. Now that he finally has this opportunity, he naturally won't let it go. So, he didn't even look at David and his wife, but just glanced at Wu Wei more impatiently. Wu Wei, why are you still standing there? Are you waiting for me to do it myself? Wu Wei was frightened by the coldness in his eyes. He did not dare to delay any longer and snatched the magic weapon directly from Oscar's hand. Ah! As the magic weapon left his body, Oscar suddenly felt a heart-wrenching pain exploding in his body, and he screamed out in pain. Oscar! Dora felt a pang of pain when she saw her precious son in such pain, and she quickly went forward to hug him. Mom, it hurts! Oscar gritted his teeth and said, veins bulging on his forehead due to pain. No, give the magic weapon back to my son. Give it back to my son. Dora was anxious and reached out to grab the magic weapon from Wu Wei. Unexpectedly, Wu Wei had no intention of caring about him at all, and respectfully handed the magic weapon to Qing Fu with both hands. Master, your magic weapon? Qing Fu snorted, took the magic weapon, and secretly glanced at William. Seeing William's indifferent expression, he thought he was still somewhat dissatisfied with the current situation, so he just made up his mind and smashed the magic weapon to the ground. With a bang, the magic weapon broke into 2 pieces. Qing Fu thought to himself, I destroyed the magic weapon in front of these people and didn't let them use it, which made them angry to death. Why didn't the Heavenly Master accept him as a disciple? Chapter 143 Beautiful Thoughts. Everyone looked at the magic weapon broken into 2 pieces on the ground and gasped. At this point, they almost all understood Qing Fu's identity and his status in the political and business circles. They knew that if this seemingly inconspicuous jade pendant was placed outside, even if a sky-high price was offered, there would be many big shots who would snatch it up. Such a valuable thing was broken like this. It's really rich and willful. William was also a little surprised. With Qing Fu's profound strength, it was not an easy task to make such a magical instrument. Now he just smashed it. In fact, from the first time William saw Oscar wearing this jade pendant, he felt that this thing was made by Qing Fu. He called Qing Fu, and when Qing Fu found out that the magic weapon was with Oscar, he immediately said that he would come and retrieve it. William could remove the mysterious power from the jade pendant, but with his current level of cultivation, if he did so, Wu Wei would definitely notice something was wrong, which would give people something to talk about. It would be better to let Qing Fu do it. So I agreed. He didn't know that Qing Fu was trying to show off in front of him so that he would accept him as a disciple. He just thought that this old guy had a bad temper, so he smashed the magic weapon when he disagreed with him. He felt speechless in his heart. What kind of shitty master are you? You would rather smash something than use it for my son. Do you deserve the title of master? Dora had completely lost her mind at this time because she felt sorry for Oscar, and she roared at Qing Fu with a ferocious face. Although David was very dissatisfied with Qing Fu's decision to smash the magic weapon rather than give it to Oscar, he was still rational. He knew that with Qing Fu's status in the circle, if he really angered him, the Qin family would probably be in trouble again. He quickly smiled at Qing Fu and said, Master, I'm really sorry. My wife was really worried about the child, so she said something rude. Please be magnanimous and don't bother with her. Qing Fu was too lazy to pay attention to him and said calmly, I can smash my magic weapon if I want to. It's none of your business to make irresponsible remarks here. Besides, didn't Wu Wei say that my magic weapon might not be able to save that kid's life? If that's the case, then why use it? Upon hearing this, Wu Wei lowered his head in fear. The pain in Oscar's body became more and more severe, and his clothes were soaked with cold sweat. He stretched out his hand towards Wu Wei. Master, save me. Wu Wei thought that he had offended Qing Fu deeply this time. He felt annoyed and hated Oscar completely at the same time. He wouldn't have gotten to this point if this idiot hadn't suddenly pulled him out. Not only did he not tell the Xiamen boss about it, but now he has embarrassed himself in front of everyone. But if I really ignore Oscar with his narrow mind, he will never let him go in the future. He had no choice but to give him a few more pills. After Oscar took it, the pain was mostly suppressed. Son, how are you? Are you feeling better? Dora felt relieved when she saw Oscar stop shaking. Oscar nodded weakly. Mom, I'm better now, don't worry about me. Dora cried with joy. Chung Fu looked at the deep love between the mother and son and thought of the suffering his future master had endured in the Chen family, and he felt extremely sick. All right, stop crying here, young man. Even without my magic weapon and Wu Wei's Qingxin pill, you won't die. William chuckled and continued. Really? Wu Wei, since Master Qingfu said that Oscar's life would not be affected by the ghost energy invading his body, why did you say so decisively that his life was in danger just now? Yes, Wu Wei, why is that? Chung Fu looked at Wu Wei with sharp eyes. He must support his future master's words. Originally, I didn't want to get involved in this matter, but you knew that the magic weapon was made by me, Qing Fu, but you said in public that this kid's life is still in danger. Isn't this telling the world that my things can't even suppress a mere ghost energy, ruining my reputation? Dora saw that her baby son in her arms was extremely weak, but William was standing there leisurely, still treating her baby son cruelly. Then he thought that if William hadn't pressed him hard, Oscar wouldn't have dragged Wu Wei into it just to prove himself, causing Wu Wei's words to be heard by the narrow-minded Qing Fu, who smashed the magic weapon on the spot, causing Oscar to suffer such a great sin for no reason. And he became even more furious. It's all William's fault. This is all William's fault. If it weren't for William, Oscar wouldn't have been injured. That's enough. William, she shouted angrily. When David saw Dora getting mad, he knew things were going to get bad, and he quickly yelled, All right, what are you still arguing about? Can't you see how uncomfortable Oscar is? Why don't you take him to the hospital right away? Upon hearing this, William immediately guessed what David was planning. Things have come to this point. How could he let him get his wish? Go to the hospital? What hospital? The doctor didn't find any problems, and your son said in person that he didn't need to go to the hospital and didn't want to waste medical resources. Why do you want to go to the hospital now? Your family has thrown such a huge basin of dirty water on my head, and now you want to leave because you are afraid that I will tell the truth. You want to end this matter when it is most disadvantageous to me. Isn't it too wishful to think so? David's heart sank. He knew that this rebellious son was determined to kill the Qin family. No wonder he was so enthusiastic when the doctor came before. It turned out he wanted to block their excuse to go to the hospital. William, how can you think of your parents like this? You are our biological son, and we just want to take you home. How come in your eyes, we are throwing dirty water on you? Yes, Brother William, you think too much. Brother Oscar was blessed by Master Qing Fu's magic weapon just now, and his condition is completely different from now. How can they be compared? I think Brother Oscar can't stand it anymore, so let's send him to the hospital as soon as possible. You come with me, and we can talk it out as a family. Mom, Dad, and sisters really want to take you home. Chen Yunyan also realized that William was going to counterattack. Although she didn't know what cards William was holding, her sense of control made her feel uneasy. At this point, she just wanted everything to end right here and now. As she said this, she winked at her people and asked them to end the live broadcast. William saw through her intention at a glance and sneered. Chen Yunyan, what's the matter? Now that things are not going in your favor, you let your people stop the live broadcast. But it doesn't matter. Even if you interrupt, my live broadcast is still going on. We should let the whole world see the ugly true face of your Chun family. Asu, is the live broadcast still going on? Wan Mingshu felt extremely upset when he saw his elder brother being slandered openly and covertly by this family. Now that my elder brother is finally going to take action, I am extremely excited. Don't worry, big brother, we are still live streaming. Now the number of people in the live streaming room has exceeded 1 million. Chapter 144, William's Counterattack. William, do you really want to kill your brother and Archon family? Your brother is already like this. Just treat it as a beg from your mother. Let us send your brother to the hospital first. At this time, Dora only thought that William wanted to prove that Oscar lied in order to help the Chin family change public opinion. If he succeeded, the situation would only be more unfavorable to the Chin family, and Oscar's reputation would also be damaged. Oscar is not in good condition? William sneered. Master Qing Fu, given Oscar's situation, with your cultivation level, I think you should have a way to temporarily suppress the ghost energy in his body, right? Temporarily suppress Chung Fufu's heart. That is natural. In order to prevent people from seeing that he and William were in the same group, he deliberately added, Wu Wei just belittled my ability, so I just took this opportunity to prove myself. As he said that, he walked over to Oscar and placed a talisman on his chest. The moment the talisman entered his body, Oscar suddenly felt warm inside, and all the pain disappeared instantly. Okay, now your ghost energy has been completely suppressed temporarily. You are no different from ordinary people. Stand up, Chung Fu said lightly. Although Oscar felt better physically, his heart was filled with panic. William's plan, if he stood up as if nothing had happened? Thinking of this, a hint of hesitation flashed in his eyes. When Chung Fu saw that he refused to get up, his face darkened. Oscar, I've already said this. If you dare to act pretentiously again and make people misunderstand that I am incompetent, I will definitely not let it go. Wu Wei was so afraid of Ching Fu. Oscar naturally didn't dare to dawdle any longer and stood up quickly. He bowed to Ching Fu obediently. Thank you, master, for saving my life. Ching Fu said disdainfully. No need. I know from your face that you are not worthy of my rescue. So the evil spirit in your body can only be suppressed for half an hour at most. After half an hour, you can only wish for the best. What? Oscar's face changed suddenly. This damn stinky Taoist priest has already taken action. Why doesn't he just heal him directly? The person who was even angrier than him was Dora. Dora pointed at Ching Fu and said angrily, Ching Fu, how can you do this? At this point, she suddenly thought of something, and then she was furious, pointing at William and cursing. It's you, you little beast, right? You are in cahoots with that stinky Taoist priest. William smiled faintly. What's the matter, Mrs. Chun? You can't continue your act? You don't want to pretend to be a loving mother anymore? I'm not your biological son whom you wanted to take home to make amends with. Have you become a little beast again? Mom! When Chen Yunyan saw Dora so angry, she knew something bad was going to happen. She quickly stepped forward to support her and whispered, Calm down. Dora pushed him away and said, Why are you still calm? She wants to kill your brother. How can I stay calm? David wanted to say something to stop William, but when he saw how William was determined to kill the Chen family, he felt exhausted. At this point, his heart was filled with regret. If I had known I shouldn't have taken this rebellious son back home. Forget it, let them make trouble. He still didn't show up. In this case, if the Chun family's reputation is completely ruined today, he can still choose to divorce Dora and distance himself from it. The Chun family still has a glimmer of hope. William, how did your brother wrong you? After you came back home, he bullied him every day. He didn't let him go even after you left, causing unrest in the family. Now he's on a show, and you want him to be beaten by a ghost. Now you want Ching Fu to take away the magic weapon. He could have saved your brother, but you didn't let him. Why are you so cruel and want to kill your brother? Dora stared at William. William looked calm. I bullied him every day after I went back. There are so many people in the Chun family, but has anyone seen me bullying him? Every time his eyes turned red, you guys, who held him in your hands, would help him make up stories. So I was beaten up, locked up, and not allowed to eat again and again. Your adopted son lives in the Chin family. He has 2 rooms. One is the best room besides your and David's bedroom. The other is used to store his collection. He lives in the best room. But my biological son lives in a damp and dark basement where even the servants don't live. His monthly living expenses are 100,000, not counting the money that other people transfer to her privately to buy gifts. I only have 400 a month, and it is divided into 4 installments. During the past few years I have been in your Chin family, I have to rely on working outside to fill my stomach. Fiona and I all go to the same school, but they each have a special car to pick me up. I can only run a few kilometers every day to catch the earliest bus to school, and I am late every day and get fined. Tell me, with my status in the Chin family, how dare I bully your beloved? Tell me, with my status in the Chin family, how dare I bully your beloved? You said before that you were training me as your heir, so you were strict with me. So this is how you wealthy families train your heirs? You didn't even change my surname, didn't register my household registration, and called your biological son an adopted son. What should I inherit? Your huge assets of $100 a week? Or your tiny basement that never sees the sun and has water seeping through the walls? Dora felt that there was nothing wrong with her arrangement, so she retorted without any guilt. That's because you grew up in a poor and remote area, and you stole things from home as soon as you came back. I want to correct your bad habits, right? Stealing? Have you seen it? Did David see it? Dora, you still dare to talk about this matter now. Have you forgotten how you lost the case last time? Have you forgotten that the police went to your house and checked all the surveillance cameras, but couldn't find any evidence of me stealing things? Why? Do you take Oscar's words as the truth? Even if the evidence is right in front of you, you insist on believing her lies? Also, why did I grow up in such a poor and remote place? Isn't this all your fault? If you hadn't lost me, your eldest daughter would have seen me being abducted by human traffickers, but she said nothing and watched me disappear? What qualifications do you have to blame the environment I grew up in? Dora was stunned when she heard this, and her momentum weakened. She didn't know what to say for a moment. William continued. Also, why did I leave home? Others don't know, but you don't? Your good adopted son, knowing that I am allergic to peanuts, took advantage of the fact that I was locked up by you for 3 days without food or water and sent me a piece of cake with peanut butter, which almost killed me. He also slandered me for stealing his watch worth $2 million. I called the police, and the police cleared my name. Oscar has never lost a watch. He just said lightly that he might have made a mistake, and the matter just passed. Even for the deliberate murder of feeding me peanut butter, who is allergic to peanuts, you directly skipped the police officer in charge of the case, found their leader, and stopped the investigation of the case. At this point, William looked around and asked loudly, "Everyone here, I ask you, if you were me, would you dare to stay in such a family? If I don't leave, are you waiting for them to join forces to kill me?" Chapter 145. Oscar kneels again. William clenched his fist unconsciously, his knuckles cracking. After so many lifetimes, he would have thought that he would have become strong by now. But when he revealed the past word by word, he still felt aggrieved. "I feel wrong for the young man in my previous life who was longing for family affection. Especially when he heard the accusations against the Chun family by these onlookers. The grievance in his heart reached its peak. This is really too much. How could this family be so cruel to treat a child like this? That's right. If such a big and wealthy family can't even accommodate a biological son, then why bring him back? If you don't like William, then don't take him back. If you take him back, you will torture him and make him suffer. He is your biological son, not your enemy. I think William is much better than Oscar. He is quiet and honest. Oscar, on the other hand, is hypocritical and disgusting. Even if you like your adopted son, you should treat him equally, right? It's not like you don't have money. One gets 100,000 yuan a month, and the other gets 400 yuan a month. 400 yuan in Beijing, and he's just a growing child. How can you do that? You see, everyone thinks that what the Chun family did was wrong. Everyone felt that he didn't deserve this suffering. But the Chin family didn't think so. They still imposed this kind of pain and torture on him. For a family like this, death is too easy for them. Almost everyone was shocked by William's tearful accusation. Not only the women present, but also some men who had children or were fathers of their own could not help but put themselves in the shoes of the man, and their eyes were red. William with distressed expressions. Wang Mingxu was so angry that he even cursed. "Fuck it. Is there something wrong with you, Chin family? You treat me, William, like this. I, William, must have dug up your family's graves in my previous life, right? Aren't you afraid of retribution for doing this?" William's lips curled into a sneer. Retribution? His return marks the beginning of their retribution. Everyone in the Chun family looked extremely unhappy, and Dora was so angry that she was shaking all over because of the comments and insults. "You know nothing. So, what right do you have to comment on my family affairs here? I'm his mother. Don't I love my own flesh and blood?" But as soon as he came back, he made the whole family restless. And after he left, he tried to sow discord among the family members. William laughed sarcastically. "Your Chin family is now in such a state of discord between mother and daughter, and between sister and brother. Was it me who instigated it? Isn't it your good, adopted son?" William. Oscar was completely panicked when he saw William swearing to crush everyone in the Chun family to death. He knew that if he let William continue talking, he would reveal what he had done in public. If that were the case, his reputation would be completely ruined. So, he made up his mind and knelt down in front of William again with a sad face. "Brother William, stop talking. It's all my fault. I took away everything that should have belonged to you. I will give it back to you. I will sever ties with the Chun family now. From now on, you will be the only son of the Chun family, okay? I just ask you not to say these words anymore and make mom and dad sad." William glanced at him sideways. "Oscar, you're doing this again? In the past few years, you've said countless times that you want to leave the Chin family. But when did you really leave? You've already figured it out, haven't you? Once you say you want to leave, it means I can't tolerate you. And then what's waiting for me is another beating. I'm leaving. I'm definitely leaving this time. Brother William, you believe me? You really want to leave now?" William's mouth curled up in a sarcastic arc. Really? Brother William, I will really leave. It's too late, Oscar. I don't care about it anymore. I don't care about the Chun family that you regard as a treasure at all. Do you think I don't know? You suddenly stood up. Aren't you afraid that I will expose your ugly deeds? Oscar's heart sank completely. "Oscar, stand up and stop begging this ungrateful bastard." Dora pulled Oscar up and protected him. William looked at Dora and said, "Dora, look, your good adopted son knows that if his deeds were exposed, he would be despised by everyone. But you, a blind and stupid person, firmly believe that he is innocent. Your eldest daughter Chen Wanning and seventh daughter Fiona have ignored you so far, right? Even now, you still don't reflect on yourself and still hold Oscar in your hands. Don't you realize that the mother-daughter relationship between you and your third daughter Chen Yunyun is probably coming to an end as well? Really? Chen Yunyun." William raised his eyebrows and looked at Chen Yunyun. "William, stop trying to sow discord between me and my daughter. I tell you, she is not as heartless as you," Dora vowed. But after waiting for a long time, he didn't get any reply from Chen Yunyun, so he turned around and looked over. He saw Chen Yunyun looking at him with complicated eyes, pursing her lips with an expression of assent, which made him immediately furious. Dora, do you know that your third daughter had such a deep relationship with Oscar before? Why is she so cruel to curse him to death now? At this point, William laughed. That's because your good adopted son clearly had the magic weapon given by Wu Wei, but he was reluctant to give it to his third sister, so he kept lying to her that he didn't have it. It was because I felt sorry for Chen Yunyan that I helped her snatch the magic weapon away. Who knew that when the female ghost appeared? Afterwards, William told Oscar everything that he had done to Chen Yunyan. Oscar's face had already turned as pale as paper. But fortunately, his previous plan worked. Dora still firmly believed in him. William, stop stirring up trouble here. Oscar said that he didn't know what he was doing at the time. William was amused. Chen Yunyan, do you believe this? Seeing Chen Yunyan remain silent, Dora said anxiously, Yunyan, don't listen to William. He deliberately wants to turn you siblings against each other. Chen Yunyan looked at Dora, who was protecting Oscar, and thought of the slap in the face before and Dora's mindless protection of Oscar now, which showed that she totally disregarded the Chen family and her sisters. She felt extremely aggrieved. She subconsciously glanced at David, and David shook his head at her, signaling her not to speak. She understood instantly. Looking at William's current state, it would be difficult for the Chun family to turn the tables today. David has remained silent, perhaps trying to find a scapegoat for the Chun family's damaged reputation. Her father is about to abandon her mother. Thinking of this, she looked away with red eyes, no longer looking at Dora, and lowered her head sadly. Chapter 146, checking the results. Oscar failed miserably. Dora didn't know she was about to be abandoned. Seeing that William had successfully provoked Chen Yunyan, she angrily said, Stupid, how could you be as stupid as your eldest sister and seventh sister? You actually believed William, a liar who is full of lies. William also noticed the interaction between the father and daughter and understood David's plan. But he didn't intend to expose it. If you were to ask who in the Chin family he hated the most, it would be Dora. When he suffered a lot in his childhood, he was filled with envy every time he saw his adoptive mother holding her biological son. At that time, he thought that if he could return to his biological mother, he would be just as happy. So after he returned to the Chin family, what he most desired was maternal love. But Dora completely disappointed him. Not only did she not love him, she hated him. I hated him so much that even after learning that he was dead, I just said indifferently, it's better to be dead. How could he not hate such a mother? All the tragedies in his previous life came from this hateful woman. He wanted to watch Dora fall step by step, be deserted by her friends and relatives, and finally be betrayed by her most beloved and cared for adopted son. He wants to make her live a life worse than death. Look, your third daughter has completely given up on you. Is it worth it for an adopted son? Dora was already upset by William's relentless pressure, and now seeing that the idiot Chen Yunyan had betrayed her and William was still slandering Oscar, she finally exploded. Oscar, how is it not worth it? If you hadn't been the one to stir up trouble after you came back, would our family have become like this? Before you came back, everything was fine in our family, but what happened after you came back? The siblings are not getting along, the mother and daughter are alienated, and all of this is caused by you. You said so much today. Aren't you just trying to say that I don't love you? Yes, I just don't love you. In my eyes, you are not even as good as Oscar. Oscar has been obedient and sensible since he was a child, and his grades are excellent, but what about you? Not only are your grades always at the bottom, but you are also full of conspiracies and tricks. What else can you do except make me angry and upset, and make the house a mess? Tell me yourself, which mother in the world would like a son like you? Dora originally thought that her words would not only make William lower his head in shame, but would at least make him reflect on himself. But unexpectedly, William just sneered and shrugged nonchalantly. Do you really think Oscar's grades are better than mine? What else? Oscar wasn't ranked in the top 20 in that exam at school. And look at you. You're truly the last one. William looked at Oscar. Oscar, if I remember correctly, the final exam results should have come out. Why don't you check your ranking this time? I remember that last time you were in the top 5 in the class, your good adoptive father gave you a watch worth $2 million. If you do well this time, you might get an even more expensive gift. Oscar pursed his lips and said nothing, not understanding what William was planning. Dora seems to have reached a dead end and must prove how terrible William is. It seemed that as long as she could prove how terrible William was, everything she did would be right. And William was wrong. He was ignored and tortured because he was not good enough. Let's check it now, so that everyone can see how much better Oscar is than you. After saying that, she urged Oscar to call the teacher. Oscar looked at William's confident expression, and for some reason, he felt uneasy. During this period, William's performance always surprised him. So this time, will he be ready? But on second thought, based on William's results, there is no way he can compare to him. Unless he cheats, But if you cheat during the exam, you will definitely be caught by the surveillance camera. Thinking of this, he even hoped that William would score higher than him in this exam, so that he could use the excuse that William cheated to crush him. He sneered in his heart, but still pretended to be embarrassed on his face. Mom, do you really want to check? Or forget it. Grades can't represent everything. After all, Brother William has a poor foundation. Check. We must check today. Oscar, you don't have to worry about him. Some people are not worth it. You call? I'll ask. Oh well. Oscar took out his cell phone with an embarrassed look on his face, worried that the new head teacher would be too easy to talk to. He made a special call to the school's most impartial dean of studies. After the call was connected, Dora took the phone and turned on the speakerphone so that everyone could hear her baby son's grades first. Director Yi, I'm Oscar's mother. Are his final exam results out? How are his grades? Let me take a look. Please wait a moment. Director Yi checked it and then said, Mother Chun, Oscar's final exam results are not very ideal. He has regressed a bit. Dora was stunned when she heard this. He has regressed? What is his ranking now? Ranked 31st in the class, 179th in the grade. Dora was stunned when she heard this. How? How is this possible? My Oscar is always ranked in the top few in the class, and he has always been ranked in the top 5 in the school. Director Yi was silent. Dora asked hurriedly, What about William? What's his last place? This time, Director Yi didn't need to check and said directly, William is really impressive this time. He ranks first in the whole grade. He got full marks in mathematics, physics, chemistry, and biology. His total score is 742. What? This is impossible. He always counted last before. Dora suddenly screamed. Oscar was a little angry when he heard that his grades had dropped, but now he was excited when he heard that William had scored such a high score. He just didn't do well in the test once, which is much better than a cheater like William. Brother William, weren't you ranked 9th from the bottom in the grade in the last exam? How come you got full marks this time? What method did you use? This improvement is too unbelievable, he said deliberately worriedly. Dora suddenly realized something and asked sharply, William, are you cheating? William sneered and said loudly, Director Yi, after you saw my results, you probably wouldn't believe it. You should have completed the investigation by now, right? Director Yi smiled and said, Yes, William, you used to hide your talent very well, but you made a splash this time. Well, the school immediately set up an investigation team to look into your grades, and the final conclusion was that there was no problem. We are now hoping that you can continue to maintain your performance and bring back a top scorer in the college entrance examination for our school in the second half of the year. Oscar's heart sank when he heard this. He snatched the phone and said in disbelief, Director Yi, are you mistaken? How could William get such a high score without cheating? He became angrier and angrier as he spoke, and even started to speak without thinking. Director Yi, did you receive any benefits from William? Otherwise, why would you help him so much? Director Ye's voice suddenly turned cold. Student Chun, please be careful with your words. Several teachers from the school investigation team have reviewed William's test surveillance video and found no problems at all. His problem-solving ideas were clear, and some of them were even more perfect than the standard answers. I think a student with this ability doesn't need to cheat. Impossible. Absolutely impossible. Someone must have given William a sneak peek of the test questions. Director Yi, if you check again in this direction, you will definitely find evidence of William cheating. Dora also said, Yes. Director Yi, Oscar is right. Your test questions must have been leaked in advance. If you have any objections to the school's investigation results, you can report it to the Ministry of Education and ask them to send someone to investigate. Director Yi was too lazy to talk to the mother and son anymore, so he hung up the phone. Dora was even more furious. She turned her head and looked at William, who was still watching the show, and said, William, do you still have any shame? You were cheating on a test. William snorted. Are you sure that I cheated because I got first place in the exam? What else? You used to be at the bottom of the class, but suddenly you got first place. Could it be because of your ability? Dora, you must have forgotten, right? I got first place in the first exam after returning to the Chun family, but how did you do it? Chapter 147, 2 slaps for Oscar. Dora was startled when she heard this, and suddenly remembered something. Her face turned pale in an instant. William sneered and continued. At that time, your whole family was celebrating Oscar's slight improvement. When you knew I got first place in the exam, you thought I did well in the exam to steal his limelight, so you made me kneel in the yard for several hours in the cold winter. Why do you think I always ranked last in every exam afterwards? It's because I knew that as long as I was better than Oscar, I would be tortured and beaten by you. Am I not good enough? You forced me to be mediocre. It's ridiculous that you still think that your Chun family paid for me to go to Jingda High School. Let me tell you, I entered into high school through hard work, and the tuition was free for 3 years. In the past 2 years, your Chin family has not spent a penny on my tuition. No, impossible. Dora's figure swayed. This is impossible. Oscar's mind was also a mess at the moment. In the past few years, he had been stepping on William under his feet and had long forgotten about this matter. Now that William mentioned it, he remembered that it seemed to be true. So, William really didn't cheat. If David knew how outstanding William was, would he be more willing to take William back and drive him away? He subconsciously looked at David, only to see that the look in his eyes when he looked at William was mixed with some regret. No, absolutely not. William, that bastard, can never replace him. Oscar suddenly had an idea in his mind. He gently pulled Dora's sleeve and reminded her softly, "Men, being kept by a man is the most difficult black spot for William to wash away now, and it is also eye-catching enough. As long as this matter is made bigger and confirmed, William will definitely be crushed to death." Dora also reacted immediately and immediately put on a look of great grief. "William, you're talking nonsense. Have I ever done what you said? Is this what that man taught you?" She paused deliberately and continued, "That man is so capable that he can help you get the test papers. What about the college entrance examination? Will he also help you get the test papers back?" William has extraordinary hearing ability. Even though others didn't hear what Oscar said, he heard it clearly. Since Oscar gave him such a great gift, why shouldn't he return the favor? "Dora, since you keep saying that I'm being kept by a man, then tell me, what evidence do you have in the Chin family?" Dora stiffened her neck and said, "What evidence do you need? I saw it with my own eyes. You followed 2 old men at the same time. I mean, how come you changed after leaving home? When you go out, people call you Mr. Jiang, and you take turns riding in Rolls-Royce and Maybach. You also go against your family in everything. Originally, I always thought that you were young and had gone astray, so I wanted to take you home and teach you well, but you disobeyed us and slandered us again and again. This time, I am really tired, William. If you must follow that man, then follow him. I am tired and old, and I can't control you anymore. There is no point in saying more. You can do whatever you want. Oscar, let's go." After saying that, Dora was about to leave. William stepped aside to stop her. "Dora, I thought I knew the Chin family well enough, but I didn't expect that I still underestimated your shamelessness. You keep saying that you are my biological mother, but everything you do to me is something that no normal person would do, even if it's to a stranger. You really make me look at you in a new light." Having said that, William took a deep breath, then looked at Dora with hatred in his eyes. "You just say it without thinking, right?" William followed suit. "Last time I saw you standing with a man. Who was that man? Is he Oscar's biological father? Is Oscar your son from outside, so you spoil him so much that you don't even care about your own children?" Dora was forced to retreat step by William. After a moment, she became angry and raised her hand high towards William's face. You little beast! How dare you slander me like this?" William grabbed her wrist and said, "Why? It feels bad to be slandered by others, right? But isn't this what you just did to me?" William shook off his hand, turned to look at Oscar, and slapped him hard. "William, what right do you have to hit Oscar? If you weren't my biological mother, this slap would have landed on your face today. Oscar, you took this slap on behalf of your adoptive mother." As he said that, he slapped Oscar on the other side of his face. "This slap is because you just instigated your adoptive mother to slander me." William used a lot of force this time, and Oscar's face was completely swollen. Dora was so angry that she raised her hand to cover her chest. "William, you are really too much." As she spoke, she looked at David and said angrily, "David, are you dead? Just watching this little beast beat my son like this." David looked at the contemptuous expressions of the crowd and knew that it was almost time. Dora has completely lost, and there is no possibility for the Chun family to turn things around today. It's time to sacrifice Dora. He walked up to Dora, his face furious, pointed at her, and said disappointedly, "Dora, I didn't expect. I'm working so hard outside to earn money to support the family. And this is how you treat my biological son, who I finally found? Are you worthy of being a mother with such a vicious heart?" This is to tell everyone that all this has nothing to do with him. It was all done by Dora alone. Dora looked at him in disbelief. What are you talking about?" "That's enough," David said angrily. "I've been too indulgent to you in the past, and you have caused chaos in this family. Dora, I really doubt whether you are crazy now. You're calling me crazy? Isn't it? If you were not crazy, would you treat our own son like this? I tell you, Dora, when I return to the capital, the first thing I will do is take you to see a psychiatrist. If you are not crazy, I will definitely divorce you." "David!" Dora wanted to say something, but was stopped by Chen Yunyun. Chen Yunyun winked at Dora, then shouted, "Mom, stop making trouble. Do you want to completely destroy our family?" Dora finally understood what was going on and didn't dare to say anything. David turned to look at William, tears in his eyes, and said, "William, it's Dad's fault. It's all because Dad was always busy with his career and neglected you. As a result, you suffered so much at home. Dad hates you so much." William looked at David with a half smile and said sarcastically, "Chairman Chun, seeing that all the slanders Dora had against me had been exposed and the Chun family's reputation was ruined. So he stepped forward to push Dora out to save the Chun family?" David was shocked because he didn't expect that William could see through his intentions so quickly at such a young age. "No!" As soon as he opened his mouth to explain, he was interrupted by William. "David, do you really think I don't know that you all thought I was being kept by a man from the beginning? At Chen Wanning's birthday party, your family wanted to recognize me again. Wasn't it because you thought that if I was really being kept by a man, I would be useful to you? Chen Yunyan took me to the variety show and wanted me to go home. Wasn't it also because of the big boss behind me that you imagined?" Chapter 148. Zhou Sinan is here. David suddenly felt panicky, but it was quickly suppressed. He said sadly, "William, why do you think of Dad like this? Dad has been looking for you for so many years. How could he have the heart to do this to you?" "David, stop pretending to be a good person in front of me. If you continue to pretend and disgust me, don't blame me for tearing off your face in public." David looked at the indifference in William's eyes and knew that this rebellious son would not let him or the Chun family go. A trace of cruelty flashed in his eyes, and he leaned forward slightly, saying in a voice that only the two of them could hear, "William, I advise you to stop. Your mother doesn't know who is supporting you. I have solid evidence. Mr. Zhou's son called me. I even have the recording. If you stop now, I can save your face and leave you a part of the Chun family's property in the future. But if you don't know what's good for you, don't blame me for disregarding the relationship between father and son." "So you always thought that I was kept by Mr. Zhou?" William sneered, then looked at David with indifference. "David, tell me, if Mr. Zhou knew about this, would he be angry?" David felt a sinking feeling in his heart when he saw William speak out the matter openly and not afraid of being hurt at all. Is this kid really shameless? Or is this just a misunderstanding? What happened to my father? A deep and angry voice exploded in his ears. At this time, Zhou Sinan walked in from outside with his assistant and swept everyone in the room with cold eyes. When Chen Yunyan saw Zhou Sinan, her heart suddenly beat faster. He is here. He finally came to support her. Chen Yunyan's eyes turned red with excitement. "Boss Zhou," Director Su hurried forward when he saw the big boss coming. "I'm so sorry that the program went wrong. I really didn't expect that the brother that Teacher Chen brought with him would be so troublesome. Not only did he use improper means to steal the unreleased material of the program and post it online, but he's also been arguing about it. Director Su was afraid that this matter would become too big a deal and make Chen Yunyan unhappy. If that happens, Zhou Sinan will cause trouble for him. So, when he saw Zhou Sinan, he hurriedly pushed all the responsibility onto William. "Mr. Zhou," Chen Yunyan also came over. "I'm really sorry that the program has been affected because of me and my brother William. Don't worry, I will return all my announcement fees. I only ask you to do my face and not blame brother William. He is not yet an adult. He is just a child." Chen Yunyan implied that William was responsible for this incident, but you shouldn't blame William. Zhou Sinan looked at Chen Yunyan, who was in front of him with tears in her eyes, and couldn't help but frowning. Originally, he didn't pay attention to this show at all. It was just a small variety show. He just wanted William to come over and have some fun. Unexpectedly, the old man called him in the middle of the night yesterday and scolded him, asking him to come and support William. Only then did he realize that there was already a commotion here. The Chen family has no shame at all and teamed up to throw dirty water on William. He immediately rushed over as fast as he could. On the way, he was also watching the live broadcast and knew everything that happened here. Seeing Chen Yunyan hypocritically speaking for William, "I feel really disgusted." He said coldly, "Ms. Chen, I invested in the program to make money, but look at what your Chen family has done to the program now. If the partners and the audience think that the program produced by my company is like this, what do you think my company will do in the future?" Chen Yunyan was stunned for a moment, not knowing why Zhou Sinan was so cold to her, and the tone of his voice seemed to be hostile. Doesn't he like her? "Mr. Zhou." Chen Yunyan looked at Zhou Sinan pitifully, but Zhou Sinan was not moved at all. He ordered the secretary behind him, "Secretary Li, notify the company's legal department and hold the Chun family accountable." "Yes," Secretary Li said respectfully. Chen Yunyan and Director Su were both completely dumbfounded. Zhou Sinan walked up to William and David. "Chairman Chen, I just heard you talking about my father. What is the relationship between my father and your Chen family?" David had already seen that Zhou Sinan had ill intentions, and a layer of cold sweat broke out on his back. Misunderstanding. David smiled awkwardly. William sneered. Chairman Chen didn't seem to be joking when he threatened me just now. Just now you said that Mr. Zhou's son called you and said that I was kept by Mr. Zhou. Now Mr. Zhou's son is here, so tell me which one called you. David was sweating profusely, but he didn't dare to say anything. If possible, he really wanted to sew William's mouth shut. Zhou Sinan also said, "Yes, Chairman Chen, my father has been a soldier all his life, serving the country and the people. This is related to my father's reputation. Please explain what the situation is. If this matter is fabricated by you, the Zhou family, and I will never let it go." Mr. Zhou. Mr. Zhou. David knew that things were getting worse for the Chen family, but at this point he had no other options and could only bite the bullet and say, "It was Mr. Zhou Xinfeng who called. My second brother said that my father is supporting Mr. Jiang Xiao." When David saw Zhou Sinan calling William Mr. Jiang, he knew that things were going to get bad. If they continue to argue, no matter what the outcome is, the Chen family will suffer. He didn't dare to say anything and let the Zhou family talk about it on their own. Anyway, he did receive a call from Zhou Xinfeng. Seeing this, Zhou Sinan's tone became even colder. "Chairman Chen, I will check this matter with my second brother later, but I don't think my second brother would say such a ridiculous thing. As for you insulting my father in public, I will ask you for an explanation on behalf of the Zhou family." After that, he turned to William and bowed respectfully. "I'm sorry, Mr. Jiang Xiao. I originally thought that you could participate in the variety show in my company and have some fun, but I didn't expect it to turn out like this. Please don't blame me." Everyone was shocked. Who exactly is this William? How could a big shot like Zhou Sinan be so respectful in front of him? William said calmly, "You don't have to be like this. To put it bluntly, this is also a personal grudge between the Chen family and me. I'm afraid your show will lose some money. When the time comes, I will make it up. No need for compensation, it's nothing. As long as you don't feel uncomfortable. Mr. Jiang Xiao, are you done with your work here? If you are, why don't you take my car to the airport and I'll take you back to the capital." William thought about it and nodded. "Okay." After saying that, William walked away. When he passed Director Su, he stopped and his cold eyes fell on his face. William holds grudges and will not let go of anyone who makes him unhappy. Director Su panicked and forced himself to smile in an extremely ugly way. William said calmly, "Director Su, are you going to punish me again?" Zhou Sinan knew that William was also saying this to him. So he immediately said, "Secretary Li, notify all subsidiaries to put Director Su on the blacklist of partners in the future. This is a complete ban on him." Director Su's legs went weak, and he almost fell to his knees. "Mr. Jiang, Mr. Jiang, Mr. Zhou, I was wrong. I didn't do it on purpose. It was Chen Yunyan who told me to do it." Chen Yunyan had not yet recovered from the shock of Zhou Sinan's dislike for her. Hearing this, she quickly retorted, "Su Yao, what are you talking about? What did I ask you to do?" Director Su said angrily, "It's you who came to tell me that William and you have no blood relationship. If it wasn't for helping you and your real adopted brother, would I have threatened William?" Chen Yunyan was so angry that she was shaking all over, but she couldn't say anything to refute. Director Su's anger was equivalent to labeling her as someone who had long denied that William was her biological brother. William with a guilty look. Unexpectedly, William seemed not to care at all and even laughed softly. William glanced at her with disdain. "By the way, Chen Yunyan, tell those people in your work team not to send me private messages anymore. I am no longer your brother. I will not use the account Brother Yunyan anymore, and I will not care about your shitty things." Chen Yunyan's pupils trembled. Brother Yunyan is William? How is this possible? Chapter 149, Do You Regret It? After William dropped a bombshell on Chen Yunyan, he strode away, completely ignoring how Chen Yunyan would react to the news. When Wan Mingxu saw that his elder brother had left, he quickly threw the phone that was still live streaming to Wan Yitong, and then chased after him. "William!" When he saw William about to get in the car, he quickly stopped him. William looked back at him and said nothing. Wan Mingxu hurried over. In front of William, he had completely lost his previous spoiled brat temper and was as well-behaved as a primary school student. "Also, William, can I call you and play with you later?" William smiled faintly and said, "Don't you have my phone number and we chat?" He quite liked Wan Mingxu's personality. He was simple and straightforward. Although he looked like a bad-tempered young master, he was actually very easy to get along with. He would put everything on the table. It won't be tiring to interact with such people. Although he knew that he and Wan Mingxu were not from the same world, he had never thought of living like an isolated island. It was not a bad thing to have one more friend who might come in handy in the future. When Wan Mingxu heard what William said, he immediately smiled. "Very good. Tell your sister to keep the amulet with her and get more sun these days." "Yeah, I know. Thank you, William." William nodded, then smiled and waved. "Let's go. Find me if you need anything." Wang Mingshu nodded excitedly and watched William get into the car with a silly smile, thinking to himself that he had a super awesome brother. He's going to transfer to the same school as his older brother next semester. He didn't go back to the house until William's car was out of sight. Inside the house, the atmosphere was very strange. The ones feeling the heaviest at the moment are Director Sue and the Chin family. Director Sue has been receiving calls non-stop since the beginning, all of which are notifications from previously scheduled partners canceling their collaborations. He has always been arrogant, and now no one will give him face, even if he begs the other party to give him another chance in a humble manner. There are many directors in this circle, and there is no need for them to offend the Zhou family for someone like Director Sue. Director Sue was so angry that he smashed his phone and glared at Chun Yunyan fiercely. But things had come to this point, and it would be useless even if he beat Chun Yunyan up, so in the end he could only leave in anger. The thoughts of the several members of the Chun family were also different. Chun Yunyan is still calling the staff and her team to ask them to confirm whether William is the younger brother Yunyan, who has been fighting for her online for several years. David's mind was filled with the complete ruin of the Chun family. William's mishap today not only ruined the Chun family's reputation, but also offended the Zhou family. I'm afraid the Chin family is going to suffer a big setback this time. He looked around and his eyes fell on Oscar, who was standing aside with his head down and wiping his tears. He sighed silently, seeing that everyone was still pointing at them. He couldn't stay any longer and prepared to leave. Unexpectedly, as soon as I turned around, I heard Dora's terrified cry. "Son, what's wrong with you? Son!" He turned around and saw Oscar's face was pale and his body was shaking. He hesitated for a moment, but finally strode away. I'm in pain again," Oscar said with difficulty, gritting his teeth. Dora panicked instantly and hurried to find Ching Fu. "Master, please save my son, okay? Master!" Chung Fu glanced at Dora, sneered, and strode away. Dora was stunned for a moment, then started cursing at Ching Fu's back. Chung Fu was too lazy to pay attention to him and didn't even turn around. As soon as he walked out of the yard, he saw David leaning against the car smoking. He passed by David, he stopped and looked at David. "Do you regret it?" David was stunned for a moment, and before he could react, he heard Chung Fu say again, "For the sake of an adopted son, you drove away a biological son who could push your Chin family to the top with just a flick of his finger. Do you regret it?" David felt so regretful. If he had known that William was so promising and that even a figure like Zhou Sinan was so respectful to him, how could he have let William leave the Chin family? It's a pity that it's too late now. William will never forgive them. He has completely lost his biological son. William is not young and frivolous. He really wants to send the Chun family to hell, and he seems to be able to do it. David moved his lips and wanted to say something, but found that his throat seemed to be strangled by someone, and he could not make a sound. Ching Fu was also very disgusted with what the Chun family had done to William. Seeing him like this, he was secretly happy. He deliberately patted his shoulder and said gloatingly, "It's no use to regret. You should live a good life with that extraordinary adopted son. Mr. Jiang Xiao is no longer a big shot you can climb up to. Your hard days are still ahead." After saying that, Chung Fu strode away. David stood by the car, shaking uncontrollably, not sure whether he was angry or regretful. Chapter 150, There Are Others Behind Oscar. After Ching Fu returned to the car, he waited for a while, and finally the police arrived. The leading policeman came over and greeted him, then quickly led his men into the house. This was the last task William left for him. Only after completing the task did he leave with peace of mind. At the same time, Zhou Sinan's car has entered the city. "Mr. Jiang Xiao, are we going directly to the airport to return to Daijing now?" he asked. "No, let's go back to the hotel first. I have some things to take care of here." Zhou Sinan nodded, then quietly observed William's expression, feeling a little worried that he would be dissatisfied with him because of what happened on the show. After Secretary Li dealt with the remaining issues of the program, he saw Zhou Sinan being so cautious in front of William, and he secretly cursed his bad luck in his heart and scolded Director Sue half to death. However, mistakes must be acknowledged. He turned his head and looked at William. "Mr. Jiang, I'm really sorry. President Zhou had told the program team to treat you well early in the morning. But the person in charge of the program team got it wrong and thought that the person President Zhou was going to take care of was Chen Yunyun, so there were so many misunderstandings. It's okay, don't take it to heart." William didn't care about it, and even thought it was okay. Otherwise, the true identities of those people in the Chen family would not have been revealed so thoroughly. When Zhou Sinan heard this, he breathed a sigh of relief. After a while, the group arrived at the hotel where William had stayed before. Zhou Sinan rearranged a top-level suite for him and personally sent him back to the room. "Mr. Jiang, I live next door to you. If you have any instructions, just come to me." "Good." William nodded, closed the door, and sent a message to Ching Fu. Half an hour later, Ching Fu arrived. Mr. Jiang Xiao, everything has been dealt with. William nodded, took out a jade pendant, and threw it to Ching Fu. After Ching Fu took it, he felt a strong, mysterious power contained in the jade pendant and was shocked. Mr. Jiang, is this the magic weapon you made yourself? Didn't you smash your magic weapon? Thank you, Mr. Jiang Xiao, for the reward. Ching Fu was very happy. This is a magic weapon made by the Heavenly Master himself. It is many times more powerful than the one he smashed before. Mr. Jiang Xiao actually gave it to him directly. This time, he really made a fortune. William found it funny to see him holding the magic weapon with an expression of reluctance to let it go and his old face full of wrinkles from smiling. I'll see you later. Sit down first. I want to ask you something. Cheng Fu immediately sat down obediently. Mr. Jiang Xiao, please ask. What's up with that Wu Wei? When did you two meet? When Cheng Fu heard the name Wu Wei, his face was full of disgust. That's a metaphysical scoundrel who has no school or sect. He relies on his skills to swindle people everywhere, specifically those who have no foundation in the entertainment industry. William nodded. This was pretty much what he saw. Then how did you know him? How did he have your magic weapon in his hand? Cheng Fu thought for a moment and said, I really don't know. I made that magic weapon a few years ago and gave it to a good friend of mine in High City. My friend passed away 2 years ago, and I didn't care about the magic weapon. It was only when you told me about it that I knew that the magic weapon was in the hands of Wu Wei. William thought for a moment and said, your magic weapon should not be inactive. Cheng Fu was startled when he heard this. Isn't it Wu Wei? William nodded slightly. That's right, with Wu Wei's ability, your magic weapon is a treasure to him. If it really belongs to him, he won't be willing to give it to Oscar. I can see that although he is in the same group as Oscar, he doesn't like Oscar very much. To give this kind of thing to Oscar, I think he must have been instructed by someone, instigated by someone, who could have instructed him. William shook his head. I have no clue about this matter at the moment. I can only say that there are indeed other people behind Oscar, and according to the current situation, Wu Wei must be very afraid of this person. Cheng Fu thought about it, and felt that this was a great opportunity to show himself. Mr. Jiang, I'll go find out about this matter for you, and see who Wu Wei has been close to recently. Good. As soon as he finished speaking, there was a knock on the door. Cheng Fu glanced at William, and William nodded. Cheng Fu immediately got up and opened the door. Wan Mingxiu and his brother, and Dun Yin and the other two at the door were stunned when they saw Cheng Fu in William S. room. So, Master Cheng Fu is William S. man? Wan Mingxiu quickly let it go. William was so awesome that even if he was told now that the president was William S. man, he would believe it. After greeting Cheng Fu, he rushed into the house and sat on the sofa opposite William with an excited look on his face. William, have you watched the video I sent you? What video? William took out his cell phone and found that Wan Mingxiu had indeed sent him a video before. He clicked it and took a look. It was what happened after the police entered the house. Wan Mingxiu said happily, Damn, William, you don't know how funny Oscar's mother is. The police said they were here to investigate the case, but she actually asked the police to help Oscar deal with the ghost energy on him first. She yelled at the police and almost attacked the police like a crazy woman. If her husband hadn't lost his temper and slapped her and dragged her away, she might have really gone to jail today. When Wan Mingxiu finished speaking, the video was almost finished. William put away his phone with no expression on his face and didn't ask what happened next. You two came to see me together? Is there something going on? When William asked this question, his eyes were always on Dun Yin. Wan Yidong thought that William was in a bad mood after hearing about the Chun family's affairs. Seeing that Dun Yin seemed to be hesitant to speak, she knew that the two of them probably had something to say that was inconvenient for them to hear. So she quickly found an excuse and took Wan Mingxiu away. After the two left, Dun Yin looked at Cheng Fu again. William smiled and said, It doesn't matter. Cheng Fu is one of us. Dun Yin nodded. Mr. Jiang, I came here to thank you for giving me the amulet. Although Dun Yin used to call him William, for some reason, every time she saw William, she felt that he had a strong aura that made her feel nervous. So she changed her name to Mr. Jiang. No need. Didn't I tell you before? This is the cause and effect between you and me. You can think of it as me owing you. Although Dun Yin didn't understand what William meant, since William said so, she didn't say anything else and asked another question. Mr. Jiang, you said before that I would come to see you in the future. I want to ask, what do you mean by that? Will I get into trouble or have something dirty on me? William looked at Dun Yin for a while, then said, Cheng Fu, come and take a look at Sister Nyen's face. Chapitre 151 du Nyen en Borowing. After hearing this, Cheng Fu suddenly became nervous and felt like he was a student being randomly checked by the teacher. William was amused by his nervous look. Just look if I tell you to. You've been around for so many years. Can't you even read a face? Yes. Cheng Fu smiled innocently. If you can, just watch it now. Chung Fu nodded vigorously, feeling that he might be the one to be trained by William. He secretly swore in his heart that he must perform well in a while. He turned his head to look at Du Nien, looked at her face carefully, and then frowned deeply. "Did you see anything?" William asked. Chung Fu said in a heavy tone, "It should be borrowed by someone. Borrow your luck." Du Nien asked in surprise, then looked at William, hoping that William could give her a definite answer. "Chung Fu, please continue," William said. Chung Fu nodded. "The face of the person whose luck is borrowed will be different. First, look at the forehead. The forehead, which was originally full and smooth, gradually becomes sunken, as if it was crushed by a heavy object. This is a sign that the luck is blocked. If horizontal lines suddenly appear on the bridge of the nose, it is a sign of financial ruin. The original rosy glow on the cheekbones has disappeared, replaced by a grayish, even dark, aura, as if shrouded in haze. This means that noble people are staying away, while villains are approaching. Look at his forehead again. The horizontal lines are crisscrossed like tangled hemp. This indicates that his career will be bumpy and full of twists and turns. It will be difficult for him to succeed. The center of his brow was originally wide and bright, but now it is narrower and surrounded by black air. This indicates that bad luck and disaster are coming. After hearing this, Du Nien was filled with panic. He stood up and said in a trembling voice, "Master, what should I do?" Chung Fu comforted him. "You don't have to worry. Although your luck has been borrowed by someone else, it's still early and it hasn't caused any serious impact on you yet. You can still get your luck back." Only then did Du Nien breathe a sigh of relief. "Do you remember who you gave your birth date, hair, and nails to?" Du Nien thought about it, but before he could say anything, he heard William say, "It's Wu Wei." "Wu Wei?" Chung Fu asked in astonishment. "This kid can even do such a thing?" As he spoke, he seemed to have suddenly thought of something and said, "Mr. Jiang, could you be mistaken? I didn't see that Wu Wei had other people's fortunes." "That's right, it's an action." William noticed something unusual about Chung Fu from the first time he saw him. His fortune is extremely complicated. Besides his own, there are also many other people's fortunes. It's just that the fortunes of other people in his body are extremely weak, so it's normal that Chung Fu didn't see it. Moreover, William also saw Du Nien's fortune from Wu Wei, which proved that Du Nien's fortune was indeed borrowed by him. But Du Nien's borrowed fortune was more than just a little bit, so there were other people who really enjoyed the borrowed fortune of these stars. However, William did not intend to tell everything about this matter now. "Chung Fu, you will be the one to help him deal with Sister Nien being borrowed for transportation. Do you have any questions?" When Chung Fu heard this, his mind changed. "There's a problem." William was stunned. "What's the problem?" Chung Fu said flatteringly with a smile on his face. "Mr. Jiang, after I finish this, can you accept me as your apprentice?" William glanced at him and said, "Let's do our business first." "That means there is hope." Chung Fu was overjoyed. "Master, I will definitely perform well." After saying that, he hurriedly took Du Nien away, fearing that William would correct his use of the title Master. Hospital. The evil spirit in Oscar's body rushed everywhere, and he was sent to the hospital after leaving the house. Was extremely disappointed with Oscar and Dora. She was too lazy to care about Oscar and returned to the capital first. After a round of examination, Oscar found that all indicators in his body were normal. Public opinion online has long been boiling, and most doctors already know about the Chen family's affairs and the ghost story on the show. As for the latter, they were skeptical for the time being, but Oscar's pain all over his body didn't seem to be fake, so in the end they gave him some painkillers, but unfortunately they had no effect. "I tried all night, but there was no effect." Dora was so angry that she cursed that all the doctors here were idiots. The doctors were already annoyed by the shameless way Dora treated William, and now that Dora dared to insult them like this, they immediately kicked the Chen family out of the hospital as medical troublemakers. Oscar was still in excruciating pain, but Wu Wei was gone, and he couldn't even find anyone to ask for help. The family wanted to return to Tokyo, but the earliest flight was tomorrow morning, so they had to return to the hotel first. On the way, Dora was so distressed to see Oscar in so much pain that she burst into tears. The company's stock price once again hit the limit down, and the online boycott against the Chun Group once again became rampant, even on a larger scale than before. The company's shareholders kept calling to hold David accountable. David was already upset, and Dora kept crying beside him. "All right, can you please stop crying?" David could no longer suppress his anger and yelled after hanging up the phone. Dora was startled and immediately fell silent. David opened his phone and took a look at the current public opinion on the internet. "I found that the entire internet is now full of insults against the Chen family. The Chen family's reputation was completely ruined." David rubbed his brows in annoyance. In his mind, He kept thinking back to how William had exposed all their lies fearlessly and with solid evidence in the old house. Only then did he realize that he seemed to have never really understood his own son. At this point, what else does he not understand? From the beginning, William didn't take them seriously. He could have crushed them to death with one blow, but he didn't. He just deliberately allowed them to throw dirty water on him, allowed them to deliberately jump in front of him, constantly letting the world's emotions swing back and forth, and finally exposing their lies bit by bit. Because of this, netizens will go from just thinking that they were wrong to being angry after being fooled, and thus have an even worse impression of the Chin family. He did it on purpose. He deliberately made the Chin family a laughingstock to the whole world. He really hates the Chin family. I really want to send all the Chin family members to hell. And the most terrifying thing is that with his current abilities, he seems to be able to do it. Although David didn't know why Zhou Sinan was so respectful to William, just by looking at Zhou Sinan's attitude, he knew that William was probably not an ordinary person in Zhou's eyes. At Oscar, who was still curled up in pain, he smiled bitterly. For Oscar, he forced William to leave home. David must be the dumbest person in the world. Chapter 152 Barrett. There are only a few good hotels in Yunqing, and David naturally chose the best one. But he didn't expect to meet William by chance. As soon as David and the other two walked into the hotel lobby, they saw William walking out surrounded by Zhou Sinan, Secretary Li, and Cheng Fu. He was stunned for a moment, and before he could say anything, he saw Oscar rushing up to him. "Master, please save me, please save me. Master, I can't bear it anymore. I'm almost dying of pain." Cheng Fu glanced at William and saw that William had no expression on his face. He then said, "Isn't Wu Wei your man? Can't you just go find him?" "Master Cheng Fu, aren't you practitioners supposed to be compassionate and save all living beings? The child is in so much pain. Can you bear to ignore him?" Dora also walked up. Cheng Fu sneered. "As a mother, you have the heart to ignore your own son. So how can I care about your adopted son, because I can't bear it? Also, are you okay in your head? You're still talking about being compassionate and saving all living beings, but I'm not a Buddhist. I'm a mysterious master. I don't care about your shitty business." He paused and said sternly, "Get out of the way. Otherwise, I'll let you also have a taste of what ghost energy is." Dora was furious, but she didn't dare to refute. She was a little afraid of this master with a weird temper. Oscar looked at Cheng Fu, then at William, and finally understood. "So, Master Cheng Fu and Brother William are in the same group, right? No wonder Master Cheng Fu smashed my magic weapon without saying anything when he arrived." Cheng Fu corrected him. "What nonsense are you talking about? What do you mean by your magic weapon? Wu Wei doesn't even dare to say such things in front of me. How dare you say that?" Oscar knew that he couldn't do anything to Cheng Fu, so he didn't even look at him. He just stared at William with eyes full of hatred. William laughed sarcastically. "Oscar, the pain you are suffering now is nothing compared to what you once caused me. No matter how painful it is, can it be more painful than having your heart and blood taken away, being locked up in a mental hospital and tortured day after day, being besieged when patients riot, watching your body change into a state of disintegration bit by bit while being conscious, and having to watch yourself turn into a pile of rotten meat while your soul floats in the air? Just bear with it. There will be many more times like this in the future." After saying that, William strode away. Zhou Sinan winked at his secretary and quickly followed. Oscar's chest was heaving with anger. He turned around and shouted, "William, do you hate me so much? Do you hate me so much that you want to deliberately order that evil spirit to kill me, hurt me, and let Cheng Fu destroy the magic weapon, making me suffer so much that I wish I were dead? Since you don't want to help me, don't blame me for exposing your crimes to the public." Oscar stared at William's back with eyes full of resentment. Unexpectedly, William walked out the door without even looking back. David watched Zhou Sinan personally help William open the car door, and he felt even more regretful. Why on earth is William so held in such high esteem by the Zhou family? Oscar was so angry when he saw this that he felt a sharp pain in his chest, and his vision went dark. "Son!" David turned his head and saw Oscar lying on the ground with an even uglier look on his face. He couldn't help but feel annoyed. "Help him sit on the sofa for a while. I'll go check him in." Dora had just settled Oscar down when David came back with a gloomy face. It was done so quickly, Dora asked in surprise. "What are you going to do?" "Let's go and change hotels." "Change hotel? Why? My son is feeling so uncomfortable right now. How can we let him continue the journey?" David said angrily. "They have already said that this hotel will not accept our Chin family. And not just this family, but all the properties of the Zhou family will not accept us in the future." "What?" Dora was furious. "Why? What they're doing is illegal. I'm going to sue them." "Go ahead and sue me," David said, completely losing his patience. "I don't have the face to stay here any longer. so you can stay here by yourself if you want." After saying that, he left without looking back, without even a glance at Oscar. Oscar has always been a thoughtful person, so he naturally noticed the change in David's attitude towards him. While he felt sad, he was also more angry. This old guy, seeing that his biological son has become successful, no longer values his adopted son. He has called him dad for more than 10 years. Dora was angry and anxious. She was angry because David's attitude towards her was getting worse and worse. Even in public places, he didn't care about her feelings at all and would lose his temper whenever he wanted. What's worrying is that Oscar's injuries are getting worse and worse, but she is helpless. Thinking of this, she cursed William in her heart. It's all because of this little bastard. If he hadn't been threatening to leave home and was determined to deal with their family, David wouldn't have treated him like this, and the daughters in the family wouldn't have been so rebellious. Oscar will not suffer from pain and torture. "You little bastard, I will never let you go." Dora swore silently in her heart. William didn't know what Dora was thinking. Or rather, even if he knew, he wouldn't care. At this time, he had already arrived at the largest police station in Yunqing. Chief Wang of the police station came out to greet them personally. "Mr. Zhou, Master Qingfu." After Director Wang and Zhou XN shook hands with Master Qingfu one by one, they looked at William. He has also learned all about today's online turmoil. His intuition told him that the young man in front of him was no ordinary person. He extended his hand toward the young man and respectfully addressed him as Zhou Sinan had addressed him. "Mr. Jiang Xiao, I am the director of the Yunqing Public Security Bureau, and my name is Wang Zhao." "Director Wang." William shook hands with him. Wang Zhao smiled and let everyone in. "Director Wang, where is Su Liangkai now? Has he confessed everything?" Cheng Fu asked straight to the point. Wang Zhao shook his head. "We caught him this afternoon, and he's still in the interrogation room. He hasn't confessed anything. It's been almost 20 years since the case started, and a lot of evidence has been lost. It's very troublesome to investigate." "No problem. Take us to see him first." Wang Zhao led everyone through a long corridor and then entered an interrogation room. There were 2 other policemen in the interrogation room interrogating Su Liangkai, but Su Liangkai was obviously fearless and there was no panic on his face. He basically only answered 1 out of every 3 questions asked by the police, and his answers were all meaningless. "Let all your people come out," Cheng Fu said. Wang Zhao knows how to achieve happiness. As the saying goes, the end of science is metaphysics. So they had asked Cheng Fu for help in some strange cases before. So as soon as Cheng Fu said this, he immediately asked all the police inside to come out. "Master, please come in first," Cheng Fu said respectfully. Most of the people in the room knew Cheng Fu, and they all widened their eyes in surprise when they saw him being so respectful to a young man. You know, before Cheng Fu came to them, he looked so arrogant. Even when their director spoke to him, he just ignored him. But now he is so cautious in front of a young man and even calls him master. This is really an unprecedented story. Chapter 153, Interrogation of Su Liangkai. William also did not correct the issue of addressing Cheng Fu. As long as he doesn't truly recognize Cheng Fu as his disciple, all this will be just a joke. As for whether or not to accept Fu as his disciple, he actually already had a plan in mind, but he still had to observe and test him for a while. He had always felt that Oscar was a bit weird, but Wu Wei's appearance made him more certain of his suspicion. The Chen family has no connections with any Xian masters, and he has never been exposed to these things since he was a child. Suddenly, there is a Xian master around him, and this Xian master is under the orders of someone else. He had to think more. In addition, the person who attacked Mr. Zhou was not a simple person. Perhaps the people he will face in the future are not just the Chen family. If this is true, having more disciples as helpers is not a bad thing. After all, Candy is still a newbie to Xianmin and has not even entered the door. She cannot play as big a role as Cheng Fu. In the future, many small matters can be handled directly by Cheng Fu. Cheng Fu was surprised to see that William did not care about his address to him in front of everyone and had no reaction. He felt that he had become a disciple of the Heavenly Master. The 2 men entered the interrogation room, and Cheng Fu attentively helped William pull out the chair. William said nothing, sat down with peace of mind, and placed the black umbrella in his hand on the table. Su Liangkai glanced at the 2 of them and recognized Cheng Fu as the master who appeared in the live broadcast, and a hint of nervousness flashed in his eyes. But he soon calmed down. So what if Cheng Fu has some abilities? It has been so many years since the incident, and as long as he doesn't admit it, it will be impossible for the police to find evidence. This interrogation room is divided into 2 parts, inside and outside. The inside is used for interrogation, and the outside is the observation room, where the suspects inside are observed through single-sided glass. At this time, a young policeman in the observation room looked at the situation inside and asked Wang Zhao, "Commissioner, is this really okay?" Wang Zhao thought for a moment. Let's take a look first. Inside the interrogation room, William said expressionlessly, "Who was the person who helped you perform the ritual back then?" Su Liangsai's heart tightened when he heard this. They actually even knew how to do this? But he still looked very confused. "Young man, what are you talking about? What are you doing? Why don't I understand?" "Hey, that's not right. Who are you two? Are you also police officers?" At this point, he paused deliberately, looked at William and said, "Hey, that's not right. Who are you two? Young man, are you a policeman? You look like a high school student. How can you come here to interrogate me?" He turned around and shouted outside, "Where are the police? Come in. What the hell are you doing? Not only did you slander me, but now you let a young boy come to interrogate me. I pay so much tax every year to support you just to keep you busy. Are you deliberately playing tricks on me? Do you know how valuable my time is?" When the police outside the door heard this, their faces turned dark. William raised the corners of his lips slightly. "Su Liangkai, while I am still willing to ask you, you'd better answer honestly otherwise." William with disdain, "Young man, if you are bored, go back and do your homework. Why are you running here to fool around?" William sneered, "Su Liangkai, you really won't cry until you see the coffin. If that's the case, don't blame me." Su Liangkai laughed out loud. "Hey, you're still talking tough to me? What? What do you want to do? Call me teacher?" William glanced at Su Liangkai, his eyes full of indifference. For some reason, Su Liangkai's body suddenly stiffened, and then he felt a chill climbing up his back. Then he watched the young man slowly take something out of his pocket and then throw it away. The young man was moving extremely fast. He only saw a bright yellow light coming towards him from the other person's hand, and then quickly sank into his chest. His ancestors were from the Xianmen sect, and he had some understanding of Master Xian's methods. He was so scared that he stood up immediately and touched his chest in panic. "You, what did you do to me? What kind of talisman is that? Get it out to me now." William's lips curled up into a terrifying smile. "Why are you panicking? It's just a talisman that allows you to reunite with your old friends." As he spoke, he picked up the black umbrella on the table and opened it directly above his head. The next second, a ball of thick black gas floated out from under the umbrella and quickly split into two balls of black gas, which then condensed into the form of a child and a young woman in a red dress. Su Liangkai looked at Tian Xiu, who suddenly appeared in front of him, and was so scared that his whole body trembled uncontrollably, and he even stuttered when he spoke. "You are Xiaoyu?" Su Liangkai pointed at Tian Xiu's soul with trembling fingers and said tremblingly, "Su Liangkai, you never thought that you and I would meet again one day." Tian Xiu stared at Su Liangkai with empty eyes, and her sharp voice was full of hatred. Su Liangkai looked at her pale face, his mind went blank, and fear was like a raging storm that destroyed all his inner defenses. His body involuntarily moved backwards until he hit the wall and had nowhere to retreat. Tian Xiu seemed to like Su Liangkai's frightened look very much, and suddenly laughed. The sound was so shrill that Su Liangkai only felt a sharp pain in his eardrums. "Lila, look, he's your dad. Go, and let your dad hug you." Lele blinked her big eyes and walked towards Su Liangkai. "Are you my father?" As Lele came over, Su Liangkai felt the air around him suddenly drop, making him feel bitingly cold. "No, I'm not your father. You're not a human. You're a ghost. Get out of here. Get out of here." When Lele heard this, he became furious instantly. The next second, Su Liangkai saw 4 children appear in front of him, screaming and howling in fear. "You really don't love Lele. You are a bad person. It was you who buried Lele. You are not worthy of being Lele's father." The 4 Leles screamed together. Su Liangkai was so scared that he covered his ears and squatted in the corner. "Don't come over here. Don't come over here. Get out. All of you. If you dare to tell Lele to get out, Lele will eat you." As he said that, Lele rushed forward, ready to avenge himself. But he found that his small body went straight through Su Liangkai's body and hit the wall. He couldn't believe what was happening and tried it a few more times, only to find that it was still the same. He looked back at Tian Xiu, his mouth pouted, and he ran to Tian Xiu, hugged her thighs, and burst into tears. "Wow, Mom, Lele is not powerful anymore. Why is Lele not powerful anymore? Mom, can you help me eat this bad guy? Lele doesn't like her." Tian Xiu touched Lele's head and glanced at William, her eyes full of gratitude. Chapter 154, Su Liangkai Confession. Lele's ghost energy was deliberately sealed by William. No matter what, he is just a child now and cannot control his emotions. If he accidentally kills Su Liangkai, he will be judged in the underworld. When Su Liangkai heard Lele's words, he was stunned at first. This little kid couldn't hurt him? Then he quickly realized that he had prayed to gods and Buddhas over the years and had a blessed Buddha amulet on his body. Ghosts are afraid of these things. So the little devil must be unable to do anything to him because of this reason. When Tian Xiu and her son appeared before, he was panicked for a moment. Now that he has calmed down, he remembered a lot of things. When he was a child, he heard his grandfather say that ghosts generally cannot harm humans. Otherwise, they will suffer in the underworld. Moreover, if a master of the mystic arts encounters a situation where a ghost hurts someone, he cannot just stand by and watch. Otherwise, their practice will be affected. Thinking of this, he suddenly became bolder. He stood up and pulled out the Buddha amulet hanging around his neck. Ha ha ha, you still want to eat me? I'm telling you, I'm not afraid. I have a protective Buddha amulet. What can you do to me? As he said this, he looked at William and the other two again. Also, you two stinky Xian masters, stop playing tricks here. I don't believe you dare to watch these two ghosts do something to me, unless you don't want to be Xian masters anymore. William sneered and turned to look at Chung Fu. Chung Fu, do you see any ghosts here? Chung Fu laughed. Of course not. Master, by the way, I was a little sleepy last night. I'll take a nap first. Call me when you leave. Okay, I'll get some sleep too. After William finished speaking, he crossed his arms over his chest and leaned back in his chair, pretending to take a nap. Su Liangkai. Is this possible? Su Liangkai, you have caused me so much pain. When Su Liangkai heard Tian Xiu's voice, he subconsciously looked over and saw that Tian Xiu's face suddenly began to rot and her long hair kept growing longer, moving without wind. What was even more terrifying was that a wound suddenly appeared on her stomach and blood continued to flow out of it, soon flowing to his feet. Su Liangkai, look at my stomach. Isn't this wound scary? How could you be so cruel? Didn't you say that I was the one you loved the most? I love you so much. Why did you treat me like this? Do you know how much pain I was in? Su Liangkai, you beast, I love you so much. As Tian Xiu spoke, she walked towards Su Liangkai. The rotten flesh on her face fell off piece by piece, and her long hair behind her also moved towards Su Liangkai. Ah! Don't come over here! Don't come over here! Su Liangkai shouted while holding up the Buddha amulet. I have the Buddha amulet. If you dare to touch me, you will disappear into thin air. Tian Xiu laughed. Amulet? Do you think this amulet can really protect you? Tian Xiu, don't do anything reckless. I warn you. You hurt me. You will go to the 18th level of hell. You will go through mountains of knives and seas of fire. You're already dead. Can't you just go to reincarnate peacefully? Su Liangkai actually didn't know what kind of punishment the underworld would give to ghosts after they harm mortals. He just told everyone the punishment he knew. But this won't scare Tian Xiu away at all. No! Tian Xiu's long hair had already wrapped around Su Liangkai's body. Su Liangkai, I have never thought about going to the underworld. Can't you see? I have become a fierce ghost now. You treated me so badly back then. Even if my soul is torn apart today, I must seek justice for us mother and son. Back then, you deceived my feelings and performed a cesarean section to take out the baby when I was giving birth. You took out my son after 10 months of pregnancy and buried him alive. Then you cruelly killed me and used the soul-suppressing nail to suppress my soul so that I would never be reborn. If I don't kill you, I will never be able to let go of the hatred in my heart. After saying that, Tian Xiu reached out and grabbed the Buddha amulet on Su Liangkai's chest. The amulet flashed a faint golden light, and Tian Xiu felt a burning sensation in her palm. Even though the pain was intense, she did not let go. She held the Buddha amulet in one hand and pinched Su Liangkai's neck with the other. The black nails quickly grew longer and dug into his flesh. Su Liangkai felt a sharp pain in his neck and watched Tian Xiu crush the amulet into powder. Only then did he realize that she was not trying to scare him. She really wanted to kill him. Su Liangkai felt as if all the blood in his body had solidified, his scalp was numb, and every pore was trembling. He seemed to hear the footsteps of death getting closer and closer to his ears, and endless fear swallowed him. There was murderous intent in Tian Xiu's eyes. You thought that 20 years had passed, no one knew what you had done, and no one could do anything to you, right? Su Liangkai, don't worry, I can do it. No one has asked for justice for me, so I'm going to ask for it myself. From today on, you will follow me, and I will torture you. Ha ha ha! Su Liangkai's face turned purple due to suffocation, and the fear of death enveloped him. Suddenly, there was a foul smell in the air. Su Liangkai, so you were so afraid of death. You were scared to death. Ha ha ha! I confess. I confess everything. I plead guilty. Please let me go. Master, please save me. Please, please save me. Su Liangkai extended his hand towards William and the other man. He had realized that Tian Xiu was not trying to scare him. She really could do anything. Rather than being taken away by her, he would rather confess his crime and be punished. In that case, he might still have a chance. But if he was killed by Tian Xiu, he would really have nothing. Tian Shiyu, William shouted. That's enough. Tian Shiyu looked back at William. Although she felt unwilling, she remembered what William had said to her before and withdrew her hand. Su Liangsai's neck relaxed, and he suddenly felt fresh air. His body softened, and he held his neck and breathed deeply. William waited for a while, and when he saw Su Liangsai's breathing return to normal, he collapsed on the ground and began to ask questions. Who was the person who helped you do this? Su Liangkai was already frightened at this time, so naturally he said whatever he wanted. I don't know who he is or where he came from. I only know that his name is Taoist Lingshu. How did you find him? I didn't look for him. He came to me on his own. I lost a lot of money in business back then. He said my luck was bad, and he wanted to help me change it. He said that after I changed my luck, our Su family would be able to make a comeback. You haven't been in touch in these years? No, he disappeared after the incident. I looked for him several times, but I couldn't find him at all. It was as if he had evaporated from the face of the earth. William asked a few more questions, and after confirming that Su Liangkai had said everything he knew, he waved outside. Wang Zhao then brought people in and started the interrogation again. Chapter 155, He is still alive. With Tian Shiyu staring at him, Su Liangkai dared not disobey. Soon, he confessed his murder and transportation clearly, and was detained on the same day. What awaited him was the trial of the law. William took Tian Shiyu and her son to the suburbs and released them. Tian Shiyu, you did a good job today and didn't commit any more murders. Tian Shiyu smiled bitterly and said, Master Tianshi, Su Liangkai is now a wealthy and powerful person. Will he really plead guilty? William thought for a moment and nodded. Don't worry, I will make him pay the price he deserves. Tian Shiyu finally breathed a sigh of relief, and a relieved smile appeared on her pale face. Then he looked at Lele reluctantly and touched her little face. Mom, when are we going home? Lele asked innocently, thinking about the upcoming separation from her son. Tian Shiyu touched Lele's head again with red eyes. Be good, Lele, we're not going home. Why? Because the master is going to send Mom and Lele to live a good life. Lele, cut out to the master with Mom. Tian Shiyu took Lele's hand and knelt down in front of William. Master Tianshi, thank you for seeking justice for us mother and son. Tian Shiyu kowtowed solemnly. Although Lele didn't understand what his mother was doing, he followed suit and kowtowed. Thank you, sir. William smiled faintly. Get up, the time has come. You should leave. At this time, a gate connecting the Yin and Yang worlds slowly appeared not far away, with two Yin soldiers standing on both sides of the gate. There was also a ghost soldier standing in the center of the gate, waiting for Tian Shiyu and her son. Tian Shiyu and Lele stood up and picked up Lele reluctantly. Lulu, let Mommy carry you over. There would never be a chance to carry her again. Tian Shiyu was crying as she spoke. Now her hostility has disappeared, and except for her whiter skin, she looks no different from ordinary people. Master Tianshi, we are leaving. I hope you can live a peaceful and happy life. Tian Shiyu blessed with tears in her eyes. You are a good person. Those people are not worthy of you. In the future, there will be someone who is truly worthy of you to stay by your side. William looked at Lele nestling obediently in Tian Shiyu's arms, whose face was full of tenderness and reluctance, and couldn't help but think of Dora, who had a ferocious face every time she faced him in the past few years, and couldn't help but smile bitterly. In any case, Tian Shiyu is a good mother to Lele. He suddenly wanted to do something for Tian Shiyu. William took out a talisman from his pocket and handed it to Tian Shiyu. When you are tried, give this soul-gathering talisman to the judge. After he sees it, he won't make things too difficult for you. Tian Shiyu was stunned for a moment when she took the talisman. Then she remembered that William was helping her. She did not doubt whether William really had such great ability to make the judge of the underworld give her face, so she hurriedly thanked him. William didn't say anything else. After watching the mother and son enter the gate and receiving a considerable amount of merit points, he turned around contentedly, got into the car, and left. Tian Shiyu killed someone in the human world, and soon after entering the underworld, she was sent before the judge. She quickly handed the talisman William gave her to the judge. When the judge saw the familiar talisman, he immediately stood up with a look of shock on his face. This kid is still alive? After seeing off Tian Shiyu and her son, William's mission here was completed. The next morning, he took Zhou Sinan's private plane back to the capital. He did not forget what he had promised Tian Shiyu. He handed the matter over to Zhou Sinan to handle, and he made sure that Su Liangkai received the punishment he deserved. Zhou Sinan agreed very readily and guaranteed to complete the task. After returning home, William ate something and planned to take a look at the current situation of the Qin family. As soon as he arrived in the study, his cell phone rang. It's an unfamiliar number, but he knew who was calling. He curled the corners of his mouth slightly, answered the phone, and said nothing. William, it's me. I'm the third sister. Chen Yunyun's voice was full of fatigue and caution. Third sister? I don't remember having a third sister. William said lightly. When Chen Yunyun heard this, she was silent for a moment. Then she sniffed as if she had been crying, and her voice trembled a little when she spoke. William, can we meet? I have a lot to tell you. No need, Miss Chun, and I have nothing to say to you. After saying that, William hung up the phone. He turned on his computer and took a look at the current situation on the internet. Chen Yunyun's Weibo followers lost more than 2 million in one day, and she was cursed all over the internet. The term Chen Yunyun, get out of the entertainment industry, topped the hot search list at this time. Ranked second is Chen Yunyun terminates contract, which includes Chen Yunyun's previous endorsements in film and television projects that have officially announced that they will cooperate with Chen Yunyun. William knew that Zhou Sinan must have been behind this. In just one night, Chen Yunyun became a rat crossing the street, and everyone wanted to kill her. There is basically no voice speaking up for her on the entire internet. Chen Yunyun is completely out of the entertainment industry. He stood up and walked to the photo wall, stared at Chen Yunyun's photo for a while, then reached out and tapped on Chen Yunyun's photo. The original color photo now looks much darker. Chen Yunyun, don't worry, this is far from over. At the same time, Chen Yunyun, who had the call hung up by William, suddenly covered her face and cried bitterly. Yesterday, she returned to Daijing overnight to deal with public opinion. But no matter how many internet trolls she hired or how she deleted the posts, netizens' boycott of her and the Chen family continued to intensify. William once said that he would make it impossible for her to continue in the entertainment industry. Now she knew that William had done it. She hate William? It should be hatred. But when she thought that William was the brother Yunyun, who had silently helped her a lot because he liked her, all her hatred disappeared. You want to see you? Chen Wanning leaned against the wall with a glass of wine, looking at Chen Yunyun expressionlessly. After Chen Yunyun came out of the studio this morning, she didn't want to go back to the Chen family and felt she had nowhere to go, so she came to Chen Wanning. Chen Wanning already knew almost everything about what was happening on the internet, so she kept her. After all, we are sisters. But she had no sympathy for Chen Yunyun. She had no sympathy for her current situation, let alone sympathy for others. William said that she doesn't have a third sister like me. Chen Yunyun sobbed. He doesn't have a third sister like you, nor a big sister like me. What he says most now is that he is an orphan. Chen Wanning smiled bitterly. We deserve it. Our Chen family has come to this point, and it is what we deserve. Chapter 156, Chen Yunyun's Regret. Upon hearing this, Chen Yunyun stopped crying and looked at Chen Wanning. Chen Wanning put the wine glass on the table beside her and lit a cigarette. Sister, is it true that Brother William will never recognize us again in this life? Chen Yunyun asked. Chen Wanning laughed at herself and did not answer the question. Instead, she asked, what exactly happened between you and Oscar in that show? Chen Yunyun was stunned when she heard this, and then her expression instantly became angry, and she recounted the whole story. Chen Wanning smiled faintly after listening to this. So now you can understand why I suddenly became so heartless towards Oscar? Before, Chen Yunyun didn't understand why Chen Wanning suddenly broke with her family and took back all the things she had given to Oscar. In her opinion, what Oscar did was just an unintentional mistake made by an insecure child, and Chen Wanning was just making a fuss out of nothing. But now, after being betrayed by Oscar and having the needle prick her body, she finally felt the pain. So after hearing this, she felt a little ashamed. Sister, I'm sorry. I was so stupid before. Oscar shed a few tears, and I lost my mind and stood on her side. Chen Wanning's life is a mess now, and she has no intention of blaming Chen Yunyun. After hearing her apology, he just shook his head lightly, indicating that she never took the matter to heart. Didn't you just ask me if William would never recognize us again in this life? Chen Yunyun nodded. Chen Wanning smiled bitterly and said, you were abducted when you were young, and you suffered a lot before returning home. As a result, everyone in the family beat and scolded you for an adopted son who has no blood relationship with you. If it were you, would you forgive us? But I didn't hit him. Although Chen Yunyun said this, her voice clearly lacked confidence. Yeah, you didn't hit him, but he fought for you online, but the look in your eyes when you looked at him was full of disgust, and your heart was full of the person who took his place. Isn't this more hurtful than ordinary beatings and scolding? Chen Yunyun whispered, but this is also because he stole my underwear. Chen Wanning knew that Chen Yunyun just didn't want to admit her mistake, so she was looking for an excuse for the mistake she made. But why? Why can she make excuses for herself with a clear conscience when she is tortured by guilt every night and unable to sleep? The sin was committed by the whole family together. Now that retribution has come, we should all suffer it together. Chen Wanning never claims to be a good person, so it is impossible for her to do something like sacrificing herself for others. She smiled faintly, with a hint of sarcasm in her eyes. Third sister, at this point, do you still believe what Oscar said? Sister, are you saying that this is also a lie told by Oscar? Chun Yunyun said with difficulty. She hated William for doing such a dirty thing to her. She now hoped that it was really William who did it. Only in this way could she feel less guilty. But she also knew that this was most likely Oscar's deliberate frame-up. Seeing her entangled expression, Chen Wanting knew that she was still hoping for the best. So she continued, since William came back, our good brother has changed. No, it's not right to say that he has changed. It's right to say that he is a selfish, vicious person at heart. In the 2 years since William came back, you've heard many times that he not only stole things from home, but also bullied and excluded Oscar, right? Chen Yunyan nodded. But in fact, no one has ever witnessed these things. It was Zhang Qi who stood up to speak for Oscar. However, these so-called bullying were not captured by so many surveillance cameras at home. Do you think this could be true? All we could see was William denying it with a wronged look on his face, and then being punished by his parents, and then by us, and finally Oscar came out to plead for him. Oscar, who grew up with us, is more sensible, and we love him more, and we hate William more. Over time, we even hope in our hearts that William has never come back from the beginning. Having said that, Chen Wanting took a deep puff of cigarette and then exhaled a puff of smoke. Third sister, have you ever worked outside? Even during the summer vacation? Chun Yunyun shook her head. She is the prettiest among her sisters. She has wanted to be a star since she was young and spends all her time shopping. All I think about is how to make myself more beautiful. With the support of her family, she made her debut as the second female lead in a big production and became an overnight sensation without having to play even small roles. How can I go out to work? But William has beaten me, Chun Wanting said. Since he was in junior high school, he often worked outside to earn a little living expenses. Later, he returned to the Chun family. Perhaps he felt that he was now a child with a family, and the Chun family was so well off that he could concentrate on his studies and no longer had to work. So he stopped for a while. But before long, he found that the family's living expenses were not enough to support his life. So he started working again. This time, he worked even harder than before. He even worked 3 jobs in one day. These are the things Chun Wanting found out when she investigated William before. Do you know why? Chun Wanting asked. Chun Yunyan thought for a moment and said, because the cost of living in the capital is high. Chun Wanting chuckled and shook her head. Because in addition to living, he also has to work hard to save money to buy us gifts and please us. Third sister, William gave you a gift, right? Chun Yunyan nodded. What did you give me? Chun Yunyan recalled. He once gave me a signed photo of a foreign actress, a bracelet, and a trophy that he had someone customize for him. I guess that foreign actress is the idol you mentioned on some occasion? Chun Yunyan had realized something at this time and nodded painfully. That actress is the top actress in the industry. Someone from the company arranged for me to say that in the interview. Not long after the interview, he sent me a signed photo. The bracelet is something I once wore on a red carpet. It was the brand I was endorsing at the time. I said I liked it very much, but in order to promote the product, I jokingly said that it was limited edition and difficult to buy, so he quickly bought it for me. The bracelet cost more than 2,000 yuan. The trophy was the first time I was nominated for Best Actress, but I didn't win. He customized a trophy for me. What about these gifts? Chun Wanting asked. Chun Yunyun's face froze. She still remembered that when William gave her an autographed photo, she was eating noodles and Oscar was there too. He took a look at it and put it aside. Not long after, he spilled noodle soup on it. William felt distressed and snatched the autographed photo away, but accidentally spilled the noodle soup on Oscar and scalded him. She immediately scolded William and tore the autographed photo into pieces. She also did not take the bracelet, because she had just learned from Oscar's hesitation that William had stolen her underwear. She was so angry that she threw the bracelet into the trash can in front of William and asked William to stay away from her. As for the trophy, she was being mocked by the entire internet at the time for her poor acting skills, and even her nomination was a shady deal. She felt that William was deliberately making fun of him, and she was so angry that she smashed the trophy directly at William, causing him to squat on the ground, holding his stomach, his face pale. The reason why she thought so was because Oscar said to her, "Brother, why are you like this? You know that people on the internet are laughing at you and saying that you should buy a prize yourself. Aren't you afraid that you will make your third sister sad by doing this?" Chun Yunyan recalled all of this. It was all Oscar. It's all because of Oscar's interference. Step by step, he severed the relationship between her and William as a brother. But the one who should be blamed the most is herself. Chun Wanting was right. She deserved it. Everything she faces now is her retribution, and it is what she deserves. Chun Wanting looked at Chun Yunyun, who was crying with regret. She felt inexplicably happy in her heart and raised the corners of her lips slightly. Bring it on. Join me, trapped in the abyss of regret. day and night, suffer torture. Chapter 157, The Heavenly Master Cannot Be Insulted. William secluded himself at home for 3 days before he used up all the merits he had received from Tian Shiyu and her son. Now his cultivation has reached a new level compared to before, and he can finally help old Zhou get rid of the evil spirit in his body. And today, the night of the full moon, is the time he has decided to get rid of the evil spirit. As soon as it got dark, Mr. Zhou brought his sons to William S. Villa. It would be more accurate to say that it was not Mr. Zhou who brought them here, but that they followed him voluntarily because they were worried about him. This time, Zhou Xinfeng also came, escorted by Mr. Zhou. You unfilial son, kneel down and kowtow to William and admit your fault. As soon as he entered the room, Mr. Zhou kicked Zhou Xinfeng in the knee. Dad! Zhou Xinfeng wanted to argue, but when he saw Zhou Lao's murderous gaze, his momentum instantly dropped. He whispered, I just called his father. Is that necessary? William sat there without moving, just looking at Zhou Xinfeng with a cold face, and had no intention of intervening in the matter. After all, this was Mr. Zhou teaching his own son a lesson. No need. After hearing what Zhou Xinfeng said, Mr. Zhou became even angrier. You rebellious son, I have told you so many times that William is not a liar. If he hadn't helped me, I would have died countless times. But you are such a smart aleck fool. You think you are the smartest in the world. And you even called David, making people misunderstand that you and William have that kind of relationship, ruining William's reputation. Zhou Sinan cried out in injustice. Dad, how could I know that Chen's thoughts were so dirty? Who would misunderstand that their son and an old man in his 60s or 70s have that kind of relationship? After hearing this, Mr. Zhou became even more furious and kicked Zhou Sinan in the butt again. How dare you talk nonsense here? Get down on your knees. Zhou Xinping and Zhou Sinan saw that Mr. Zhou was shaking with anger, and they were afraid that he would cause harm. Second brother, look how angry you made Dad. Stop being stubborn. Kneel down when Dad tells you to. Mr. Jiang Xiao is really not a liar. He is really helping Dad. You will know tonight. Yes, second brother, you did make a mistake. Mr. Jiang didn't blame you because of Dad's face. Just admit your mistake. Zhou Xinfeng was a staunch atheist. Seeing his brother speaking for William in this way, although he secretly cursed them for being stupid, he saw that old Zhou was so angry that he had difficulty breathing, so he gritted his teeth and knelt down. Are you mute? Apologize, Mr. Zhou said angrily. Zhou Xinfeng looked at William, his eyes full of resentment, and then took a deep breath. Mr. Jiang, I'm sorry. William snorted when he saw his reluctance. No need for that. What's the point of Mr. Zhou's insincere apology? William didn't care at all whether Zhou Xinfeng trusted him. After all, he was really young now, and it was normal for him to be regarded as a liar. It doesn't matter if Zhou Xinfeng comes to him or even accuses him to his face. But he called David to complain, which disgusted him. He is not a saint. Zhou Xinfeng was so disgusting that he came to him, but he was still so reluctant to apologize. If he could say it's okay, he would really think he was made of clay. William so forcefully was not because he was worried that William would not save him because of this incident. He was just worried that his stupid son had offended such a powerful figure, and if he encountered any difficulties in the future or was hated by him, it would lead to disaster. Seeing William's attitude now, I felt even more anxious. William, Mr. Zhou. William interrupted Mr. Zhou mercilessly. No need to say more. You sit down for a while. I still have some things to do. Having said that, he stood up and prepared to leave. Zhou Xinfeng became even more annoyed when he saw this, and immediately stood up with a look of dissatisfaction on his face. William, why are you so arrogant? Do you think I will believe you? You are so young. Why don't you learn some good things? You are playing tricks here. Aren't you afraid that I will call the police? William paused, turned around, and looked at Zhou Xinfeng with a smile. Zhou Xinfeng felt his scalp tingling from his cold gaze. When he saw him walking towards him, he swallowed subconsciously. What? What do you want to do? Mr. Zhou was worried about what William might do, so he stepped forward and said, William, calm down. This kid is ignorant. I will teach him a lesson when I get back. Became even angrier when he saw his father being so humble in front of William. Dad, wake up a little. Even if you want to find a master, can you find someone who looks more like one? Why do you have to find such a young boy? Zhou Xinfeng, shut up. Before Mr. Zhou finished speaking, William picked up Zhou Xinfeng with one hand. Everyone's face changed suddenly. Then, William threw Zhou Xinfeng out of the living room with a light throw. Zhou Xinfeng fell heavily on the lawn in the yard, feeling like all the bones in his body were about to fall apart. He just sat up and was about to curse, but he saw William standing at the door looking down at him with cold eyes. For some reason, he suddenly felt a chill in his heart, and suddenly remembered that William looked thin and small. So how could he be so strong? Not only was he able to throw a 5-foot-tall man out of the house, but he was also able to throw him so far. Before he could figure it out, William's cold voice rang in his ears. "Zhou Xinfeng, for your father's sake, I didn't hurt you today, but if you dare to act insolently in front of me again, I will let you know what it means that a heavenly master cannot be insulted." Chapter 158, Eliminating Evil. It's late at night. It was quiet all around. The full moon hangs high in the vast night sky, like a huge silver plate, emitting a soft and mysterious light, illuminating the entire earth. The moonlight poured down like water, and the breeze blew gently. The branches and leaves of the trees cast mottled shadows in the moonlight, which shattered on William, adding a sense of mystery to him. Mr. Zhou sat on the chair and looked at William. For some reason, he suddenly felt that William was very far away from him, as if he was not from this world at all. "Mr. Zhou, you have too much evil energy in your body, and this evil energy is formed by your essence and blood, so it may be a little painful later. Please bear with it." William's calm words interrupted his thoughts, and he nodded slightly. "I leave everything to William. Master, everything is ready." After Cheng Fu finished setting up the formation, he came over and reported the work William had assigned to him. He then said carefully, "Master, then, can you also remove the evil spirit from my body today?" William was stunned for a moment. "The evil spirit on you?" Cheng Fu said with a bitter face. "Master, you didn't forget about your disciple, did you? When your disciple came to exorcise the evil spirit before, he was almost eaten by the evil spirit. You exorcised the evil spirits for everyone except your disciple, saying that his condition was more serious and he had to wait a little longer." William couldn't help but smile when he saw how anxious he was. "Master, what are you laughing at?" Cheng Fu asked puzzledly. "Do you think I gave you that magic weapon for free?" William said, "Don't worry, in a few days, all the evil spirits in your body will be gone." "Ah, then why did you say it so seriously before?" William smiled and said, "If not, would you be so obedient and help me run errands during this period of time?" Cheng Fu was completely stunned. "So, I've been worrying for nothing during this period?" William shook his head helplessly. "Go ahead, I'm about to start here." Cheng Fu changed his mind and realized that if his master had not lied to him, he would not be a disciple of the heavenly master now. Thinking of this, he immediately felt relieved and walked to the corner of the yard. The 3 brothers of the Zhou family were also standing here at this moment, and Candy was responsible for watching Zhou Xinfeng. Ever since she found out that Cheng Fu, the shameless old man, was trying to compete with her for the position of master and wanted to force her to call him senior brother, Candy couldn't stand him anymore. It was obvious that she was the first to become a disciple, so even if Cheng Fu, the old man, also wanted to become a disciple, he should still call her senior sister. So during this period of time, she often put on airs in front of Cheng Fu. Seeing Cheng Fu coming over, she started to show off her style as the eldest senior sister again. She swung her hand back and hit Zhou Xinfeng on the chest, saying viciously, "I'm warning you, when my master is casting a spell, you better be quiet and don't scream. If you disturb my master's casting, I'll punish you." "A little girl also rode on me?" Zhou Xinfeng was about to get angry, but the next second his whole body stiffened and he couldn't move anymore. Cheng Fu said disdainfully, "What's the use of threatening?" At the critical moment, it is still brother's immobilization talisman that works. Candy was so angry that her face turned red. She wanted to lose her temper right then and there, but when she thought of her master who was still doing something important, she had to hold it in and threatened in a low voice, "Old Ding, you wait for me." Cheng Fu chuckled and said, "Just wait and see. In the future, it will definitely be me, your senior brother, who will teach you and answer your questions. You will definitely regret being so rude to me now." After that, he stopped looking at Candy and said to the other 2 brothers of the Zhou family, "Straighten the face of this stupid brother of yours and let him see how my master saved his father. I must make sure his face is smashed tonight." Meanwhile, William kept looking at the sky quietly. When midnight arrived, he took out the black umbrella from the table behind him, opened it, and released the ghost general inside. "Go ahead, General." The ghost general glanced at William and then nodded. William placed a soul-calming talisman on Mr. Zhou's chest, then formed seals with his hands and muttered something. The air around him seemed to solidify. The ghost general slowly walked to Mr. Zhou's side, then turned into a ball of black gas and entered Mr. Zhou's body. The 2 were combined into one. As the spell was chanted, an invisible force gathered from all directions and formed a huge golden halo that enveloped old Zhou. In the halo, Mr. Zhou suddenly opened his eyes, but his pupils had turned